So does that justify everything that you do?
Excuse me, let me tell you something. What do you think they were doing it for? Because they were trying to save us from poverty? No, they did it because they needed us. It's honor and family and loyalty. And some of us wanted a piece of the action. Now, we weren't educated like the Americans, but we had the balls to take what we wanted.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another live edition of On The Go right here on Driving to the Top Productions, where I'm your host, Big Hoss, and yes, I am 100% bringing the sauce on this Royal Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. Happy Royal Wednesday to you guys. Have a drink on me tonight. People think, what is Royal Wednesday, Hoss? Royal Wednesday is one of those out drunkest days of the year. The night before Thanksgiving is one of those nights where everyone's got the next day off, celebrating Thanksgiving, giving thanks and whatnot. They get slop drunk. I've discovered this holiday in 2009 when I was in college, and I have celebrated it ever since. I might be one of the only people that still remember this holiday and celebrate it. So I've been drinking since 7 o'clock this evening. We are now at the 2-hour mark. Have a drink on me. Like ACDC says, we're going to get to it. And I had a little groundbreaking announcement I wanted to make real quick. Tonight, hey, I'm going to give, oh shit. That over phone was not the fucking announcement I was giving tonight. Oh shit. No, the groundbreaking announcement, you could call it. I've been doing this show since April with Driving to the Top Productions. Tonight is my 50th stream tonight. 50 live streams on Driving to the Top Productions where I cover my teams in different area codes. And since Thanksgiving's tomorrow, that's one thing I am going to be thankful for is all the love and support I've got from every single one of you that tunes in, comments, watches, those who have been guests on the show, whether they were a part of Driving to the Top or who were not part of it, just come on and talk sports. I appreciate every single one of you that have been on this show, done predictions, we've done recaps, we've talked anything. I appreciate every single one of you. Appreciate every love and support I've had for the last, since April. So 7 months going with this show. Going to continue to grow it. Wait till we get to 100. It's going to happen. Wait till we get to 200. This show's going to keep going every single week. Whether if it's 1 or 2 shows a week, it's going to keep going. And I appreciate every single one of you. That's one thing I'm thankful for. You're going to hear the rest of what I'm thankful for later. And I will have someone coming on within an hour when I get to recapture predictions before I get to all my other talk. But back to the normal basis, of course, you can find me on X at BigHoss337. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. This show you can find on X and Instagram at onthego_TXLA. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. at least. If any other time it goes another day, I definitely keep you posted on social media. And of course, Driving to the Top Productions. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Damn, I'm leaking shit everywhere. And of course, big thank you. I'm also thankful for my 2 proud sponsors, Rogue Energy, the official gaming drink of On The Go, and by POGGERS, the official vitamin supplement of On The Go. Pick your poison, whether you go to rogueenergy.com or download the Rogue Energy mobile app on any mobile device, or if you go to poggers.shop, whether you're looking for energy, hydration, chill, or even sleeping products, tubs, shakers, starter kits, merch, you name it, they got it And this is going to help you right there. OTG, that promo code for both Poggers and Rogue Energy to help you get 10% off of your order. And I'm rocking some more Rogue Energy here. So Fruit Punch, I had this yesterday. Rocket Pop, I had today. What else we got? We got another batch of Snowstorm, with basically feels like winter now. I'm going to be drinking this soon. The holy grail of Rogue Energy right there, Blue Raspberry. This is the one for me. I might drink this tomorrow because I'm going to need the energy with all the shit I got to cook for Thanksgiving. And another underrated one I love, Sour Candy. That's just 5 right there. I recommend, especially that Blue Raspberry, folks. So grab yourself a drink. Let's get to it because, man, I got a loaded show for y'all tonight. And like I said, I got somebody coming on who's been on the show before. We're going to predict. We got some college football for y'all tonight. It's rivalry week as well. FCS playoffs. We're also going to recap and predict the NFL. So let's not waste any time. Let's kick this show off in H-Town. You guys ready? I'm ready. Let's go to the 713. Welcome to the land where it just don't stop. Trunks pop, top drops, and front end hop. It's been about a week now, but let's kick this off with the Houston Texans because they played last Thursday, got a much-needed, big, massive win over Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills on Prime Thursday night in those Battle Reds. 23-19 against the Buffalo Bills. I want to see where the Texans are ranked right now, but while I pop that up, let's look at some numbers from this game. 261 total yards, 153 passing, 108 total rushing. The Texans are now 6-5. And they are currently still third place in the AFC South, but they still got a lot more football to play. David Mills went 16 for 30, 153 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes, 1 to Christian Kirk for 2 yards, and 1 to Jaden Higgins for 8 yards. Woody Marks led in rushing. He had 16 carries for 74 yards. Nick Chubb also had 6 for 16 yards. My man, Nico Collins led in receiving. He had 3 catches for 55 yards. Christian Kirk had 5 for 54, plus a touchdown. Jaden Higgins had 4 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown as well. Defense, man, this defense was outstanding. Let me start off by saying 8 sacks to Josh Allen. 8 sacks. And I think the MVP of that defense got to be Will Anderson Jr. Other than that, 74 total tackles, 46 solo, 11 tackles for a loss, 2 interceptions. One of those was returned for 29 yards, courtesy of Cade Bullock. They looked fantastic. I wish they'd have played like this all season. But I'm not going to complain too much. I enjoyed every bit of it. And so far, since they debuted those new uniforms, so far this season, they've won both those games. When they wore the Candy Blues against the 49ers, they got a W. They wore the Battle Reds against the Bills, got a W. I've been asked, what's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? The brand new ones. Man, I got to go with the Battle Reds. I absolutely love those. I mean, I absolutely love the Candy Blues too, but I love that H. I'd wear that H proudly. But it's like, it's the same navy. It's just, it's the numbers that make it cool. The bright red outlined white, whatnot. But it's just, I love that new H logo on the helmets. I absolutely love them helmets, but it's that Battle Red combo. I love the red helmets, the candy red. They killed that. What's coming up next for the Houston Texans? Well, they go back in division play. They go to Indianapolis. First meeting this season against the Indianapolis Colts, who's been red hot, and not just in that division. They're red hot in the AFC. Who would have thought? You know, remember how bad the Colts have been the last couple of years, and now they could potentially be a Super Bowl contender the way they've been playing in the AFC. This will be the 47th meeting. Now the Colts have dominated this rivalry, 33-13-1 against the Texans, but the Texans have had the last laugh lately in these matchups. They've won the last 4 out of 5, and they're looking to go for 4 in a row against the Indianapolis Colts. But I'm gonna be real talk with you. If this would have been like the Colts from a couple of years ago, I would have 100% said Texans win. This game scares me right now because the Colts are red hot, and you know they are red hot, especially after that Chiefs game last week in overtime. This is going to be a hell of a game. The Colts are actually 8-3 right now. They are a super heavy favorite to win Sunday. They're 64% say Colts pull it off at home. I mean, I don't want to sweep. I would rather see a split. Right now, they got the Colts minus 4.5 at home, which if you're going to gamble on this, I'd take the Colts to cover. I could definitely see that. See the Colts covering. I don't usually like to pick against the Houston Texans, but in a situation like this, I'm going to have to say the Colts will win this game. I'm hoping it's not too bad of a blowout. I'm hoping I'll be okay with a 2-possession game, but I just want to see if they can keep it up or even get the upset. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going with the Texans to not take this victory. But here's another thing I'm going to do. After I talk each team and move on to the next one, I'm going to say what I'm thankful for all these teams, and I'll start with the Houston Texans. Youngest team in the NFL, youngest franchise in the NFL. They started in 2002. I've only been to one Texans game my entire life, and it was against the Indianapolis Colts back in 2014. It was a Thursday night game. It was in October, so we went pink for breast cancer awareness. I had a favorite memory in that game. This was back when Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback for the Texans. Andrew Luck was still the quarterback for the Colts. They still had White on the team. A.J. Hilton was on the team for the Colts. Pat McAfee was still the kicker for the Colts. And back when the Texans were still playing, we still had J.J. Watt. And that fumble recovery for 59 yards for a touchdown and him doing the nay-nay after was probably one of my favorite moments. Unfortunately, the Colts won that game against the Houston Texans. So I got to see the great Reggie Wayne, God rest his soul. I got to see a great running back in Jonathan Taylor. I even got to see the most hyped guy in College Game Day right now. That was actually my first time seeing Pat McAfee before I ever saw him compete in a wrestling ring right now. Oh, correction. Reggie Wayne did pass away. I'm thinking of Reggie White. No, Reggie Wayne's still hanging on. But hey, that's the beer talking. Nah, Reggie Wayne's still hanging on, man. What was I thinking? I can't even edit that shit. That was the beer talking. But I'm thankful for this team. I'm thankful to have a team as a backup. You know, I got an NFC team in the Saints. I got the AFC team in the Texans. You know, one thing I could maybe say I don't have to worry about is these two ever meeting in a Super Bowl. But hey, anything can happen. But I've been enjoying watching H-Town. I've loved the city so much. If I'm going to support one team, I got to support damn near everybody. That's one team to start with. So I'm thankful for the Houston Texans as that second team I could support. The only AFC team I would love to support. And I've been to NRG Stadium quite often, whether if it's rodeos or even WrestleMania. I was lucky enough to be there for an actual football game. So I'm thankful for that. And hoping in the future to maybe attend another Texans game in the near future, especially if they ever wear the Battle Reds or the Candy Blues. So I'm thankful for them. Now we move on to, let's talk some Houston Rockets real quick. Let's light the fuse right here. I don't have everything I'm going to cover on the Houston Rockets because they're actually playing a game right now. Hopefully by the end of the show, I can get an update. But let's say the Rockets are still kicking ass, even though they've only, so far before this game, they've played 2 games lately and they did take a loss. And I'm going to give an update on how the NBA Cup standings are going to be because, that's going to be wrapping up soon, or they're going to move on to the next phase. But I can tell you the Houston Rockets are currently 11-4 right now. They haven't tipped off yet with Golden State, so I probably won't have a final update for that. You might have to wait till next week's episode, which will be crazy. They're following Thunder and the Timberwolves, and they only got 1:18 left in their matchup, so they hadn't even tipped off yet. But on the other end, they've recently played 2 games. Yeah, they did fall to the Denver Nuggets, 112-109. What I could say about this is Reed Shepherd led in points. He had 27 points. He went 9 for 13 in field goals, and he went 4 for 6 in free throw shooting in that matchup. Jabari Smith led in rebounds with 11, and Alperen Sengun, the wizard, baby, he led in assists in that loss with 6 assists and 4 turnovers. However, the other night, it was Monday night actually, they got a win over the Phoenix Suns, 114-92, where Amin Thompson, he led in everything in that game. He led in points with 28, 10 for 16 in field goals, perfect 7 for 7 in free throws. He led in rebounds with 7, and he led in assists with 8 and turnovers with 4. Or on the other hand, Aaron Holiday led with Aaron Holiday at 22 points, Sengun at 18 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, and Jabari Smith also had 17 points in that game, 7 rebounds. Believe it or not, I have never. Well, let's see what the Rockets have coming up before I give my thanks to the Houston Rockets. Let's see. So they're currently 11-4. They're trying to go for their 12th win. What's next for the Rockets? Oh, phone's acting slow. They got, after tonight, they got one more game for the month of November. They play Sunday on the road against the Jazz. They should win that game. They're Utah's 5-12. And when we get to the month of December, Monday, December 1st, they're at Utah. And then next week's show, should be wrapping up at home with the Sacramento Kings on my next show, which is going to be planned for December 3rd. So hopefully I'll have a full update for that. But you'll hear 4 games for the Rockets on next week's episode. Pretty thankful for this team as well. I mean, unfortunately, of how many times I've been to the Toyota Center, it was mainly for wrestling shows. I have never been to a Rockets game. The only NBA games I've ever attended was Pelicans games. I would absolutely love to attend a Rockets game, especially with the guys we got now. Especially with a guy I absolutely adore, Kevin Durant, playing with Sengun and Aaron Holiday, Jabari Smith, Amin Thompson, Reed Shepherd. All them guys, that's an elite squad. A squad that can make a playoff run and hopefully get to the NBA Finals. Because I want to say that out of the 2 NBA teams I follow, the Houston Rockets are the only team I follow that has won the NBA Finals. They did it back-to-back in between the 2 3-peats for the Chicago Bulls. Look it up. It's back when Akeem Olajuwon and all them were taking over. I started following this team back when Tracy McGrady and all them were, and Yao Ming was playing for H-Town. I was also following them when they had that iconic, that Shark Rocket logo with the pinstripes from the late 90s, early 2000s. That's when I started following that team. So I'm thankful, and I hopefully one day, maybe I'll look at it in 2026, I can actually make it back to H-Town and attend a Rockets game finally. Because the experience looks legit. Fucking get out of my way, you fucking fly. It's cold as shit outside, and y'all still alive. All right, well, that's all the talk I got for the Rockets and giving thanks for. Let's talk on one thing I adore in H-Town. Let's talk about my school. Let's talk about the Cougs, U of H. This is a red alert. Let's talk the basketball team first. Currently, unfortunately, yes, yesterday they took their first loss of the season, but I'm not here to talk shit on it. I'm going to still talk positive. One loss isn't going to affect their future of winning a national championship once and for all. They did actually play an extra game today in Vegas. They were playing in that that Champions Era tournament they had going on. I forgot who sponsored that. I forgot about that. Was it from Geico? The RX the Players Era Festival? I think it was like, was it from Geico? I don't even remember. Well, since the last show, they've played 4 games. They played 1 game back at Fertitta. A big blowout win over Ryder, 91-45. I'm going to quickly run this down. Kingston Flemings in that game against Ryder led in points with 18, 8 for 10 in field goals, perfect 2 for 2 in free throw shooting. Joseph Tugler led in rebounds with 9. He also had 12 points. Milo Zuzan led in assists with 6. Also, Chris Sinek Jr., 12 points. Emmanuel Sharp, 15 points. Mercy Miller had 14. Their last few games, they've been taking over Sin City. They've been in Las Vegas, playing at MGM in this round robin tournament. They started off with Syracuse, and I gotta apologize. This was the first game I've missed all season for the Cougars. That's on me. I got mixed up with another Houston team. I thought Monday night they were going to play Syracuse at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. No, that was the Houston Rockets playing the Phoenix Suns. This game was like at 5 or 6 p.m. my time, and I missed it. It was a close game. They got the win over Syracuse, 78-74. Milos led in points with 26, 8 for 15 in field goals, perfect 6 for 6 in free throw shooting. He also had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals. Chris Sinak led in rebounds with 12. He also had 8 points. Kingston Flemings led in assists with 6. He also had 3 turnovers, 9 points and 6 rebounds. Emmanuel Sharp had 26 points and 4 rebounds. But last night, they took their first loss to a very good Tennessee team, a team that was also in the Sweet 16, just like them. That's going to be another team to watch make a deep run in the playoffs. First loss, 76-73. It was heartbreaking to see them take their first loss already, but it don't change the fact they're still going to be playoff contenders. I can see them making a deep run, hopefully another Final Four appearance, and fingers crossed for another shot to play for a national championship, and they finally get one. I'll say in this game, Kingston led in points with 25, 10 for 15 in field goals, perfect 2 for 2 in free throws. Chris Sinak led in rebounds with 11. Joseph Tugler led in assists with 5 and 2 turnovers. And Milos also had 17 points in that game, 3 rebounds and 4 assists. They had a brand new game, and this was actually their final game of the month. They got to play an extra game in that tournament. They played Notre Dame earlier today. They got the win, 65-56 over the Irish. Emmanuel Sharp balled out in this game. 17 points. He led 5 for 16 in field goals, 3 for 4 in free throw shooting. He also had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 turnovers, but Joseph Tugler led in rebounds with 8. He also had 10 points in that game. Kingston Flemings led in assists with 5. And Milos also had some number points in this game with 15. So, like I said, just one loss. One loss ain't too bad. I mean, you know how hard it is to have a perfect season in college basketball? Last I recall, only 2 teams I can remember done it. Kentucky for the men's when they had Anthony Davis. Baylor for the women when Kim Mulkey was at Baylor and they still had Brittany Griner and all them playing. That's only 2 teams I can recall that ever had a perfect season winning it all. I've seen very good basketball teams win with a couple of losses, whether at least 3 to 5 in that category. You know, this is only their first loss. They're only 7-1. They still got a lot more to play. They didn't even get conference play yet. That's when it's really going to get fun. But this was their final game of the month. As of right now, they don't play again until December the 6th. They got only 5 games in the month of December. And when I get to next week's show, I'll probably won't even have to talk Houston Cougar basketball because they ain't got nothing until December 6th, which it's in H-Town, but it's not at Fertitta. They're playing in Toyota for the Houston Hoops showdown with Florida State. So we got Big 12 versus ACC. Going to be a hell of a game. 7 p.m. tip-off on Peacock. Then they're back in their actual home on December 10th against Jackson State. They play another home game December 13th against New Orleans. Their only road game for the month on December 20th, they go to New Jersey. They go to Newark to play Arkansas in the Never Forget Tribute Classic at Prudential Center. SEC versus Big 12. And Arkansas, as of right now, is currently in the top 25. They're number 22. And they close out 2025 at Fertitta with Mid-Tennessee on December 29th. And then we don't see them play again until 2026. By then, they should go into Big 12 play. And their first game in the new year will be a Big 12 matchup with Cincinnati on January 3rd. So, one thing, like I say, I'm going to start saying how thankful I am for just the basketball team first. We're going to talk the football team in a bit, but the last 4 years have been so amazing to see how far this team has gone. Having 2 Final Four appearances in the last 4 years. Last year, making it to the national championship was special. It would have been nice if they would have gotten that win, but I know one mistake cost them their first ever natty, but I knew they were going to be back. Kelvin Sampson has to be one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. He's been in UH for such a long time. I think he's already on his 12th season. But shout out to Coach Sampson. Shout out to Milos, Kingston, Emmanuel, Chris, Joseph, Mercy, all them guys. You know, I enjoy watching them Cougars, especially on the hardwood. Thankful for them. I've been to Fertitta twice, but I've never been to a basketball game, and that is a bucket list for me. I was going to try and go in the month of December, but I got a busy, hectic schedule. But I'll say this. I'm not going to call it a New Year's resolution, but if I had any, sport goal for 2026, if I ever go back, the next time I go back to Houston, I want to go to a Cougars game at Fertitta. But it have to be a Saturday matchup. I see for the month of January, if I try and go in January, there's only one I'll be able to make. Be on my sister's birthday. Unless if I wait till February, it'd have to be after the Mardi Gras celebration. The one I would absolutely love to go to will probably be the hardest game to get. Because currently right now, both of these teams are in the top 5 in Houston and Arizona. Arizona's the number 2 team in the country right now, while Houston's 3. The cheapest ticket is $86. I mean, that's not bad for a basketball game, but $86, it could be fucking $200, $300. No. I bet if that would have been a football game, it'd have been a double the price. So that's 2 games I'm keeping in mind right there to try and attend. Either Arizona State on January 18th or Arizona. What date was that? February 21st. So you might see me in H-Town at Fertitta January 18th or February 21st. You can count on that. I'm going to make it happen. Well, I'm going to wrap up the Houston talk. Wrap it up currently with the Houston Cougar football team. I had a feeling this was coming, but I ain't going to shit talk them. They fought hard, but they did not get the job done. They fell to TCU 17-14. Football team is currently 8-3 overall, 5-3 in the Big 12, but not going to shit talk them. They put up a fight. Baylor had the ball last, so they got the win. 391 total yards, 161 passing, 260 rushing. Connor Wegman went 15 for 29, 161 passing. He had 2 touchdown passes, one to Amir Thomas, 15 yards, and Dean Connors for 8. He did throw an interception. He also rushing. He had 15 carries for 100 yards, while Dean Connors had 12 carries for 75 yards. DJ Butler had 8 carries for 33. Amir Thomas led in receiving, 5 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Dean Connors also had 5 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown. Defense, 74 total tackles, 38 solo, 1 sack. I'm going to save the best for last. 3 interceptions in this game. Will James had 2 of the interceptions. The other one went to Rook Brown. But tackles for a loss? Five's the magic number on this show, and y'all know it. I had to extend that clip for y'all. Let it finish. 5 tackles for a loss, baby. And defense did pretty good. I should have played this clip for the Houston Texas defense, and I'm just gonna play it right now. Sorry for being
Wait
late.
a minute, get it how you live it. 10 toes in when we standing on business. I'm a big stepper, underground methods, top-notch hoes, get the most, not the little.
That was for the Texans defense, especially getting 8 sacks on Josh Allen. But yeah, what else we had for the Cougars basketball team? Football team. They got 1 more game left to close out the regular season. The good news is they're bowl eligible, so they're going to play one more game after this. Since it is rivalry week, Houston Cougars are closing out the regular season with a rivalry matchup. They're taking on Baylor. They're on their way to Waco to play the Baylor Bears. 31st meeting overall. Baylor, this has been a back-and-forth rivalry. Baylor leads this rivalry with 15 wins and 14 losses and 1 draw. Now, Baylor has dominated this rivalry lately. They've won 3 out of the last 5. I am a little nervous for this because, yes, Baylor is tough to play at home. Shout out to Coach Aranda, the former offensive coordinator for that 2019 LSU team. He took the head coaching job at Baylor. I got a lot of love and respect for the Baylor Bears. I don't support it. I don't give love and support to every college team in the state of Texas, but Baylor's got a little love for me. I know I got a lot of love for TCU, especially I've been giving love to Texas Tech, but Baylor, I still keep you on the rearview mirror, man. I got a little love for y'all, sick 'em Bears. But let's see here. Why do I feel like Houston's probably going to drop another one? Because this ain't going to affect. They're bowl eligible no matter what if they win or lose this game. So with that being said, before I give an actual score prediction. Oh, wow. So Houston. Baylor's a little over as the favorite. Houston's 8-3. Baylor's 5-6. But Baylor, 58% say Baylor pulls about 41% say Houston gets it done on the road. You know what? I know they say rivalry games, you throw the records out the window. This isn't that big of a rivalry. Yeah, it's 2 Texas teams probably like a couple 100 miles away from each other. Waco's about, 3 hours from Houston? This ain't like Houston Rice or Houston SMU. This ain't like Baylor TCU. This is some like a love-hate relationship. All respect to the Baylor Bears. I think Houston pulls it off. It's going to be a close game. Before I even say a score prediction, they got Baylor -2.5. I'd take Houston with the points. Yeah. They're giving the Cougars +2.5. Okay. I could take that. That sounds crazy. That might be the beer talking, but if I'm putting the points to the side, Houston wins at 28-24. How about that? 28-24 Cougars. And just like the basketball team, I've been to TDCU Stadium. I have snuck in and took pictures of the stadium, but I have never been to a Cougars football game. I've tried to go to Cougars games over the years. Never had the time to go. Always just go still support LSU and whatnot. Eventually, I'll try again in 2026. I know somewhere in the future they're supposed to play LSU, especially at NRG Stadium. That might be the only time I'll get a chance to say I've been to a Cougars game. But I want to go see them at the Cage. I want to go see them at TDECU, not at NRG Stadium. But I'm still thankful for this football team. I know they dominated the American Conference, but I think, they're still spreading their wings in the Big 12. And I feel like sooner or later they're going to get better in the Big 12. But that's all. Before I move on to my next of the Woods, I got to give out two more loves to two other teams that are currently in off seasons right now. I want to give love to, give it thanks to. I'll start with the Houston Dynamo. So I'll just pop this up as a quick Dynamo talk. I don't watch too much soccer to care, but, I'll watch it when I get a chance. And, the Houston Dynamo, they've been around for 20 years. When they first came onto the scene, they've won back-to-back MLS Cups. But on their 20th season, this was not the season we wanted. This was one of their worst seasons I could recall. And hopefully one day I'll actually go back to another matchup and see this team actually win a game. I've been to 3 Dynamo games, and I've seen them lose 2 and 1 in a draw. Unfortunately, no chance of going to see them in 2026, but maybe in 2027. Supposedly the league's supposed to shift. They're like when they're going to start their seasons and whatnot. Like, I think they're going to start it like after the summer in 2027 or something. I'm going to have to keep you updated on that. But I still have love for the black and orange. Still love the Dynamo, even though I talk shit about them a lot this year. They just need a lot of change. They need new coaches, new players that want to win. But hopefully, grass will be greener on the other side for the Dynamo. It's the only love I'm going to give them right now. And then I'm going to close out with my most favorite team in Houston, the Houston Astros. Yeah, I mean, we didn't make the postseason for the first time in quite a while. But I'm going to tell you, what a run we've had from 2017 to 2024. Those playoff runs were not just fantastic, but winning 2 they've been from 2017 to 2022. They've played in 4 World Series and won 2 out of 4. They've been to 5 total, but from that time frame, from 2017 to 2022, we've won 2 out of 4. You can shit talk that baseball team all you want with the whole cheating shit back in 2017 or whatnot. You can hate on Jose Altuve. But you will respect that team. They've been through so much. They were the first Texas team to get to a World Series, and they were the first to bring one back to the Lone Star State. Despite the Rangers being the first to actually win a game during the World Series and the first Texas team to do it back-to-back. They may have more wins than us in that rivalry, but we brought hardware back to the Lone Star State before you fuckers did. I know there's going to be some changes coming for the Astros coming in 2026, but I am looking forward. I haven't been to a game in a couple years. I'm hoping to go back to Houston for that as well. Never been to the ballpark when they renamed it Daikin Park. Last time I went to a game, it was still Minute Maid Park. But I can't wait to be back in the ballpark. As much as I'm enjoying football and basketball right now, it won't be long before I'll be ready to watch baseball once again. But the Houston Astros, one of my first Texas love. God bless the Houston Astros, baby. I cannot wait to watch y'all again in 2026. So thankful for that baseball club. All right, well, now let's take it to the boot. Let's take it to my neck of the woods, the 337. Let's go. We're going to start. I got nothing but so much positive to talk about in my college team in my backyard. Let's talk some McNeese, because let's start with the football team real quick. Their season just wrapped up, but I told you from the get-go last week, They finished strong. They beat their rivals. They beat Lamar 21-19. The Border Trophy is back where it belongs. It's back in Lake Charles. It's back in Southwest Louisiana. They finished their season overall with 5 wins and 7 losses, with 4 wins and 4 losses in the Southland Conference. Not a playoff appearance, but hey, this was our natty. This was our FCS championship. That Border Trophy is back in Lake Charles after losing 3 straight in the last couple seasons. They got that trophy back. What a game this was, man. I got to check it out a little bit. It's 362 total yards, 101 passing, 261 total rushing. The backups, Strong was out, but man, Devin Lipple, 11 for 23, 69 passing. He did get a short touchdown pass to Reed Boyd for 5 yards. Did throw a pick, but he also had 12 carries for 40 yards and a rushing touchdown. Alex Flores got some playing time too. He went 2 for 3 and they had 32 passing yards. But Kobe Ham, boy, they ran the ball a lot in that game. He led in rushing. He had 16 carries for 131 total rushing yards, while Trevante Citizen had 10 carries for 56. Reed Boyd led in receiving, 2 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. The defense was great. They had 2 interceptions in this game. Philip Bradford had a pick 6 for 21 yards. And Shia Brinkley had an interception as well. They've been strong. It was great to be back at the Hole a week ago, even though they lost to UT Rio Grande Valley. I need to start making more McNeese games, so I'm always thankful for the Pokes. It's not all, we don't play LSU every year, but it's like every so often we do, but LSU always wins that game. But I'm also thankful for the only FCS team I ever follow overall. That's just about 30 miles away from where I live. A lot of family has went to this school. My brother, my 2 sisters have graduated from McNeese. My 2 brother-in-laws graduated from McNeese. We got a rich history of family and friends that are Pokes. We got a lot of people from my hometown that have played college football, basketball, cheered, even were cowgirl kickers for the McNeese Cowboys. I said basketball, yeah, boys and girls basketball, by the way. Hell, their field house was named after a Lake Arthur legend, Jack Dolan. Jack Dolan Fieldhouse. Shout out to the late Jack Dolan. Even our high school football stadium's named after him. But it's going to get better. The fact that Matt Viatar back, this season was a lot better than what it's been in the last couple years. Thankful we were able to get Matt Viatar back. I know the future's going to get brighter. I need to go to more games at the Hole. It was nice to be back over there. That was actually my first time at the Hole in a long time. I haven't been to a McNeese football game at home in like a few years. Curtis, with being a season ticket holder for LSU. I need to make a valve where if McNeese got a home game during LSU's bye week, be at the Hole. If they got a home game while LSU on the road and it's an early start time for them, be at the Hole. But there could be times where if they're on the road and it's a night game the same time as this, I can always tune in on my phone. So I need to be at the Hole more often. But I'm always thankful for this football team. Go Pokes. I can't wait to see what happens in the near future. But man, let's talk about what's been dominant for McNeese the last several years. It's time for another edition of the Bayou Bandit Duel, and man, McNeese basketball has been killing it. They have been in the Cayman Islands. They've won that whole fucking tournament, got themselves a trophy. Another trophy to add to that trophy case. 1, 2, Boogie, Shorty George.
Give me 1, 2, Boogie, and Shorty George. Shorty George.
Their first game, they beat George Washington 92-86. Javon Garcia had led in points with 18, 5 for 14 in field goals, 2 for 5 in free throw shooting. Am I saying this correct? P-Talk Machar?
If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is going to feel my wrath.
If I said it correct, P-Talk Machar led in rebounds with 14. He also had 15 points. Garwi Duel led in assists with 7, 3 turnovers and 16 points. And our new star player, Christian Shoemate was our star player the last 2 years, but the former Creighton Fighting Blue Jay, Larry Johnson himself, had 16 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal in that win. The other night, they got the victory over Murray State 73-60, where Tyshawn Archie led in points with 17, 7 for 13 in field goals, 2 for 5 in free throws. Peacock Machar led in rebounds again with 7, and Javon Garcia led in assists with 6, plus 15 points. Larry Johnson in this game had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a turnover. And yesterday, they wrapped up with a victory over Mid-Tennessee. They won 72-62. Javon Garcia in that game with points with 26 plus 8 field goals, 2 for 3 in free throw shooting. Carl Sharonfont led in rebounds with 10, and Tyshawn Archie led in assists with 2. I didn't put Larry's numbers, but let's see what Larry had in this game with Mid-Tennessee. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 turnover. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but you're not going to play that great every time. They're not skipping a beat. I know we don't have the great Will Wade anymore. I know he's doing his thing in Raleigh with the Wolfpack. But, I'm going to give my credit to Bill Armstrong. Bill Armstrong comes from a great background of winning. We picked him up from Baylor. He was an assistant. But, I mean, he's killing it at McNeese. I got to give love to Bill Armstrong. Hell, can't wait to meet the guy. I cannot wait to finally be at Townsley Law Arena. Like, we need to give this place a nickname. It's been the Legacy Center. It's been the H&HP Center. Like, we need to think of a cool nickname for the McNeese Cowboy. In the past, they've played in the Burton Coliseum. We've always called that place the Burton. If you hear me out, Heath Schroyer, if you tuning in, buddy, I think we need to call Bryce Boudreaux, if you listening. I got a great suggestion for a nickname for Townsley Law Arena. Why don't we call it the Saloon? You heard it here, folks. November 26, 2025. We need a nickname for Townsley Law Arena. We got to call it the Saloon. You heard it first. I think we should do it. Get back.
Get back.
Get back!
You heard it here, folks. All right, what's next for this Cowboys team? They've already wrapped up the month in the Cayman Islands. December 1st. So they're only going to have one game when I come back on next week's show. They go in a conference play already. They're going to go to San Antonio and play Incarnate Word on December 1st. They'll be back at Townsley Law on Friday, December 5th against Northwestern State. Catch your boy over there. I will be there. Even if I show up late, that's going to be the first basketball game I'm going to be at for the season. But just one game when we come back on next week. I gave you a little heads up. First game I'm going to be at Northwestern State on December 5th. But the basketball vibe is back. I couldn't imagine how great the basketball vibe was when Joe DeMoss was playing for McNeese. But I enjoy the last several years, especially when we had Will Wade. I've enjoyed watching them make history, winning back-to-back Southland Conference titles, making it to March Madness. Getting a win last year over Clemson was so huge for the city of Lake Charles, even though they did fall in the second round to Purdue. The future's going to be bright for the Pokes. Hell, even their girls basketball team's kicking ass as well. I'm going to have to start talking about them more often. I'm very thankful to see McNeese also be a basketball school, much as I love the game. And I cannot wait to be back on whether if it's a late Friday night or Saturday afternoon to cheer for them Pokes, baby. Let's do it. Let's call it the Saloon, bruh. You heard it here. All right, so moving on. We got done with this talk. I got some good positive vibe for the Raging Cajuns. They did play a Thursday night game last week, but they got a huge win They beat Arkansas State 34-30. And I was watching all multiple sorts of shit that night, but I did get to check this out. They got the win, 34-30. The Cajuns now sit at 5-6 in the season, 4-3 in the Sun Belt. If I'm correct, with the one game they got left, they could be bowl eligible if they get the win. A couple numbers in this game: 394 total yards, 256 passing, 138 rushing. Lunch Winfield, he had a great game, 18 for 25, 147 passing, 20 carry. He also had 20 carries for 89 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He also led in rushing. Bill Davis had 11 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. Zylan Perry had 12 carries for 42 yards and a touchdown. Shelton Sampson led in receiving, 3 catches for 35 yards, while Caden Jensen had 4 catches for 34 yards. Defense had 84 total tackles, 40 solo, 1 sack courtesy of Jalen Kreider, and 3 tackles for a loss. They needed that win to keep their chances of being bowl eligible alive. And with what they got coming up, there is a possibility it can happen. But like I said, it's rivalry week. Anything can happen in a rivalry game. It's the Battle of the Bayou. They're hosting UL Monroe. That's not having the season they were hoping for. But the good news is it's at Our Lady of Lords Stadium or Cajun Field. The Cajuns have dominated this rivalry, winning 8 of the last 10. They are favorite. UL Monroe is coming in this game at 3-8. Win or lose for the Warhawks, their season wraps up after this. A win for UL, they will be above 500, and they will be bowl eligible once again. So the more the merrier. LSU's bowl eligible. Tulane's bowl eligible. I'm sure Louisiana Tech's bowl eligible. If they are, let's make it 4. Go Cajuns. Give me UL, a big, massive win over UL Monroe. 38-14. I'll say that. And the football team's maybe the only team I'm going to talk on this show. I know they're very known for baseball and especially softball, but I don't really care for them much. I mean, I will give thanks to the Raging Cajuns. You know, I've had a lot of memories on campus, especially going to the Bulldog. I've been to quite a bit of UL games, whether if I cheered for them or not. They're a beautiful campus. They got some fucking fine-ass women that go to UL. I've been a part of history-making games. I've been to ass whoopings. I've been to games they've pulled it off. And it's a nice little place to get away if you want to watch some good Sun Belt football. So, but if you want to talk to Cajun Home, it's one of my favorite places to go to. I'll give them that kind of love. Well, that's the love I'm going to give and be thankful for in my neck of the woods. Let's continue this show. Let's go to Tigerland. Let's go to the 225. Operator, won't you put me on through? Because about to send some love down to Baton Rouge. Let's start with that football team first. In case you missed it, I was there in attendance in Death Valley, the final home game of the regular season. But, man, I thought I was going to have a goddamn heart attack. The good news was LSU got the victory over Western Kentucky, but it was a struggle win. They won 13-10. That now puts LSU 7-4 overall. This was a non-conference game, so they're still 3-4 in the SEC. 328 total yards in this game, 202 passing, 126 rushing. MVP Michael Van Buren Jr. may have not been his best game, but he 25 for 42, 202 passing yards, touchdown to Trey Green for 11 yards, 1 interception. Hey, they're not going to play their very best time. This may not have been his best game. The future's going to be bright for him. He also had 7 carries for 12 yards in rushing. But Harlan Berry led in rushing. He had 18 carries for 80 yards. Juwan Johnson had 4 carries for 20 yards. Caden Durham had 6 carries for 16 yards. Xavier Thomas led in receiving, 6 catches for 47 yards. Trey'Dez Green also had 6 catches for 45 yards plus a touchdown. Barry Brown, 5 catches for 37 yards. And Kyle Parker, 2 catches for 33 yards. The defense, 62 total tackles, 26 solo, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 interceptions, courtesy of DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland. Sacks, Five sacks for that defense, baby. Defense played fantastic. Even though they gave up 10 points. But this is the part of the show real quick where I'm going to do my usual blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. We have got to do something with that fucking offensive line, man. Shit. Because of them, they almost got upset huge in this shit. Offensive line coach, you need to step the fuck up, man. Especially with what we got left before they go bowling. They're closing out the regular season at Oklahoma, who is in the top 10 right now. Last I checked, I think they were the number 8 team in the country. Oklahoma's going to be a fucking dogfight. And unfortunately, this is the second year in a row that LSU is not participating in Rivalry Week. Because I am going to go off the limb and say this straight to y'all. LSU and Oklahoma is not a rivalry. They have not met that many times to make it a rivalry. This is only the 5th meeting overall. Their first 3 meetings were in bowl games. Their second meeting was for a national championship. And that was the first time they beat them. Oklahoma won the first meeting back in 1950 in the Sugar Bowl. Back when Tulane Stadium. 2004, they met the second time for the national title in the Sugar Bowl. LSU got that win their second natty. The last time they met then was a playoff game in the Peach Bowl in 2019 when Joe Burrow ran the fuck over that team to get to that natty against Clemson. Now, last year was the first time ever they've played an on-campus game, and they came to Death Valley. I was there last year, freezing my ass off, watching them close out the win of the regular season against the Sooners. Now, this weekend will be the first time ever they go to Sooner Country. They go to Norman, just down the road from Keith, from Toby Keith's hometown. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. I know he'd have loved to have been there to see this matchup for the first time in their turf. I'm pretty sure he was there in 2003 or 2019, but this ain't gonna be an easy game for them. They're gonna have to pull more than a rabbit out their ass to get this done. Because it's not looking good for them to win it. They're predicted to lose this game. Oklahoma's 1 win away for 10 wins. They're 9-2. We're 7-4. 73% say Oklahoma pulls it off. They are going to have to do more if they need to win this. But I'm not going to quit on them. I'm going to say LSU wins the game. Going to be a close one. I'm going to say 21-20. They pull it off. But if they lose, I wouldn't be surprised to get their ass kicked. But my first love in football, LSU. I have been to over 60 games at Tiger Stadium. Every time I love the atmosphere every time I go there. I know I didn't go to many games this year. I'm no longer a season ticket holder. I've only been to 2 games this year. Hopefully, if we got Lane Kiffin in the bag, get a better team next year. you can at least catch me at least at 3 games next year. I'm looking to be at Clemson next year, Texas, and McNeese next year. Waiting to see what weeks everyone's. I know Clemson's week 1, and I think McNeese might be week 2, but waiting to see when that Texas game is if Arch Manning don't go to the NFL. You gave me a lot of gray hairs. I talk shit about y'all. I've loved y'all. I've hated y'all. I say I was done with y'all. But I always keep coming back for more. You're like a drug I can't get rid of. Always go Tigers. But we got to be better than this, folks. That's all I'm going to say. All I got left to talk in Tigerland, I'm going to do some LSU basketball talk before we move on to the Big Easy and then bring my guests on. It's time to talk a little bit of the PMAC show. We'll start with girls. They've only played 1 game since last show. They got a win over Alcorn State. They won 112-49. They're currently 6-0 right now, and they were the number 5 team in the country. In their last game over Alcorn State, Flau'jae Johnson led in points with 18, 8 for 12 in field goals. Did not get no free throw shots, shockingly. Kate Caval led in rebounds with 12, plus she had 15 points. Bella Hines led in assists with 5 assists, plus 1 turnover. Malaysia Fulwiley had 18 points in this game, and Michaela Williams had 15. That's the only game they had. I know they're going to the Bahamas. No, not the Bahamas. The Virgin Islands, starting Friday. So November 28th, they play Maurice in the Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. That's the only game they got until next show. They're gonna go 7-0, and I've only been to a short number of LSU girls basketball games, but I'm very thankful they have now they've added when they brought in Kim Mulkey. In her second season, they've won a national championship. You know, they have been a relevant team to watch ever since. I see this team going back to the Final Four in the near future, hopefully this coming season. Their main question is they can get over South Carolina, because I know when they play Dawn and them fucking Gamecocks, it's always dramatic. When is that game, by the way? On Valentine's Day, and it's in Baton Rouge. Yep, Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks are coming to the PMAC on Valentine's Day, February 14th. I'm going to definitely watch that one. Hopefully we can finally get over that hump and beat the Gamecocks. If they can beat the Gamecocks, I could see them winning their 2nd national championship. And then I'm going to wrap up with the Bulls. They are 5-0. They've only played 1 game since last show. They played Omaha at the PMAC. They got the win 99-73. Max McKinnon led in that game with 22 points, 7 for 11 in field goals, 6 for 8 in free throw shooting, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers. But Pablo Tamba led in rebounds with 13. Dean Thomas Jr. led in assists with 10. Plus, he had 15 points. And Mike Nowako also had 14. I know they're about to be heading to Destin to play in the Emerald Coast Classic. They play Drake on Black Friday, 8:30 start time, and it will be on CBSSN if you want to tune in. And then their next home game will be the night of next stream on December 5th. Correction. December 3rd, I'm sorry. That'll be their next game. They're playing, they're doing it early. The ACC SEC Men's Challenge. They're going to play in Boston College the next time we're live. So they'll have 2 games I'm going to recap. I've been to a couple of LSU. You know, it's hard to try and make one when you follow fucking 6 basketball teams. Yeah, I only talk LSU, McNeese, and Houston on this show. I follow North Carolina, I follow Georgetown, and I follow Marquette. I know that's a lot, but I can't fucking help myself. I love college basketball. That's just me, man. But I'm thankful. I'm always thankful for LSU. And before we go, I am got to say the cream of the crop for LSU athletics right now LSU baseball, I know you're in off season right now. You're on top of the baseball world again. You're once again national champions. 8th national title you've won earlier this summer. Max Johnson's 2nd national title since he came to Baton Rouge from Arizona. Let's go back. Let's do something we haven't done in quite a while. Let's do something we haven't done since 96, 97. Let's go back to back. Let's win number 9. With what I'm hearing through the grapevine, LSU is the favorite to win it all over again. And I would love another trip to Omaha. That's a bucket list for me. I have never been to Omaha, and I would love nothing more to go over there. I want to go to, Rocco's Pizza, where they do the Jello Shot Challenge. That's another thing. I have donated to that place from this desk. I have sent money over. I've donated shit. I'm not going to get into numbers here, but I've donated some money to get those numbers up. But I cannot wait to be back at the box. I've only went to one game last year. It's so hard to get tickets these days, especially when they're this damn good. I'm going to find a way to make it back to the box because I am so fucking ready for some LSU baseball, baby. Whoo! Always go Tigers, forever LSU. LSU always comes first in the college world. Now let's take it to the Big Easy. About to be some mediocre talk here, but let's go to the 504. Let me just start positive real quick while we get to this talk. I'm going to start positive. We'll start with Tulane first off. Tulane wins 37-13 over Temple. That now puts them at 9-2 of the season, 6-1 in the conference. And right now, the pedal's hot in a good way. All they need is one more win, and they're back in the conference championship. I mean, any given Saturday can count, but I am so confident that Tulane is going to make it back. But let's recap this game real quick. They had 406 total yards, 231 passing, 175 total rushing. Jake Retzloff went 17 for 28, 231 passing, 2 touchdown passes. One to Shaz Preston for 69 yards, and one to Justin Reed for 4. He also had 5 carries for 8 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, but Jamari McClure led in rushing. 17 carries for 122 yards. Javon Gordon led in no, he didn't lead. I'm sorry. He also had 8 carries for 27 yards. Shaz Preston led in receiving in this game. 5 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Zod Carl Lewis Jr. had 2 catches for 39 yards, and Omari Hayes had 3 catches for 29 yards. The defense had 39 total tackles, 27 solo, 4 sacks, and 6 tackles for a loss. What's next for the Green Wave? Well, they got one more game left in the regular season, one last game at home. They take on a 1-10 Charlotte team. They're definitely winning this game. How much? What are they going to win by? How much? Let's figure this out real quick. Charlotte's 1-10. Tulane's 9-2. Plus they're the number 24 team in the country. 96% say Tulane wins. The lineup is Tulane. Oh my! Tulane minus 30.5. Damn! Do they cover that? Like, I'm not even going to fuck with that. They probably could cover with the way they've been playing, and I don't know shit about Charlotte. That's a gamble right there, folks. If they cover, I'm going to go ahead and say off the limb, they could shut out Charlotte, probably like 35-0. If you're going to take Tulane to cover, I'm going to say my score prediction, 35-0 Tulane. Then they're back in the conference championship for the American Conference. I'm probably going to play North Texas. if North Texas wins their game. So, I know this is really an old rival for LSU. I know you're not supposed to cheer for your rivals, but they've killed this rivalry. They haven't played since 2009 for the Tiger Rag. And Tulane hasn't beaten LSU in football since 2002. The only time I've ever seen Tulane play football was against LSU. I've never seen them play against anybody else. I've only seen them play twice in Tiger Stadium. I have been to Yeoman Stadium, but I've snuck in and took pictures. I've never been to a Tulane game at Yeoman. I would like to see the experience of what Greenway games could be like because they look like it'd be a fun little atmosphere to go to. But maybe sometime in the future, too soon, but I really make a Tulane game. But it's always nice to root for somebody like that. I think I've started really jumping on the Tulane bandwagon since they beat USC in the Cotton Bowl a couple years back when Caleb Williams was the Heisman Trophy winner. But around the boot, yeah, a couple teams have wrapped their seasons up, especially in the FCS, but I'm going to pull them back up before I do my usual routine order. I'll start with Nichols first because Nichols closed out their season winning their rivalry game with Southeastern. Excuse me. That was the beer talking. Southeastern closed out their season winning the River Bell over Nichols 38-26. And let me give a shout out to Boot Crew Media because they're going to have what I need to see where their records currently stand. Good news for Southeastern. They still got football left to play. They got a playoff game coming up. I'm going to predict later in the show when I bring Jason in. And God, I need to get him in quick. Hopefully he didn't go to bed on me. But as of right now, Southeastern sits at 9-3 going into the postseason. Nichols, after that loss, they close out their 2025 campaign with 4 wins and 8 losses. While Northwestern stayed in Natchitoches, hey, at least they got their first win in 3 years. But man, that my phone's acting up, but maybe it's acting up for a reason. Do I really need to bring it up? They also participated in Rivalry Week, and my God, they got their ass belted. Belt to motherfucking ass against their arch rivals, Stephen F. Austin, for the Chief Cato Trophy. What was the final score? I'm pulling it up because I deleted all this shit after the season's wrapped up. They lost 62-14 to Stephen F. Austin. So they're 1-11. They closed out the regular season 1-11. Worst team in the state. And then I told you about McNeese. McNeese closed out their win over Lamar. They got the Border Trophy back in Lake Charles, but they finished their season 5-7. Meanwhile, the teams that are still playing, going into their final game of the regular season, let's see what's going on around. We already know LSU they're playing at Oklahoma. UL's hosting UL Monroe. Tulane's hosting Charlotte. Louisiana Tech. They're currently 6-5. They are bowl eligible, so make UL be the 4th team. They got a win in overtime over Liberty, 34-28. That made them bowl eligible. They close out their season at Missouri State. Finish strong. Let them go 7-5. I think they can beat Missouri State. I've already said UL Monroe. Southeastern got a playoff game at home against Illinois State. I'm going to predict it with Jason when he comes, so I'll save that later. And then Grambling and Southern. Both teams are coming off of bye weeks, and you want to talk about rivalry week? It is Bayou Classic weekend in New Orleans. Grambling's coming in 7-4. Southern's coming in 1-10. I'm going to make this prediction now, but I'm going to let Jason predict it later. It's Bayou Classic weekend. It's a historic weekend for HBCU, especially in New Orleans. They got so much shit going on in New Orleans this week. They got their parade, I think tomorrow or Friday. They got the contests and the battle of the bands with the stepping crew and the dance teams and everything. The Battle of the Bands, everything, the football game, all the above, man. That's a bucket list too. They've attracted so many tourism with this rivalry. The rivalry's been going on for a long, long time, but since 1975, they played it in the Superdome. The only two times since 1975, the only two times they've never played it in the Superdome. 20 years ago, because of Hurricane Katrina, they played it in Houston. And because of COVID, the 2021, they didn't play the game in 2020. They played spring football in early 21, and they played it in Shreveport at Independence Stadium. The last I saw, Southern won the last three. So this is where you're going to have two picks. Grambling wins the football game, but the human jukebox, Southern's band, wins the Battle of the Bands. You heard it here, folks. So that's all we got for Around the Boot. I got two more things left to talk before I finally get Jason on here. Let's get this shit out of the way. If I'm going to talk shit right now, it's because the goddamn New Orleans Saints fell to your most heated rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, in the first meeting, 24-10.
You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here!
Y'all had me so hyped for this game just to fucking lose it. Really? You're now 2-9. 293 total yards. 214 passing. We have a bad run game, but that's the fucking O-line's fault. 79 total rushing yards. Ain't gonna cover it. Tyler Shuck, 30 for 43. 243 passing yards. 1 interception thrown. He had 7 carries for 22 total rushing yards, but he also led in rushing. Devin Neal had 7 carries for 18 yards. Taysom Hill had 10 carries for 17 yards. Chris Olave led in receiving, 9 catches for 70 yards. Juwan Johnson had 6 catches for 46 yards. Defense, 65 total tackles, 35 solo, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, and an interception. And that was the only touchdown we had in the game. Thank you, Justin Reed, for that 49-yard pick six. That was the only time we got on the board for a touchdown. We have got to do something, folks.
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no fucking mindset in this football club. Nothing is there. What the hell is there in this football club? Tell me now.
Somebody, please tell me now. I got them winning a couple more games, but they're not going to fucking win a lot. I can tell you that. Hopefully they win this next game. Because son of a bitch, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do if they cannot beat this upcoming team, the Miami Dolphins. 14th meeting overall. Dolphins lead this rivalry. No, it ain't even a rivalry. Why the fuck did I say that? That was the beer talking again. It's Royal Wednesday. Dolphins lead this series 7-6. Saints did win 3 out of the last 5. And if I'm correct, I want to say the last time they played the Miami Dolphins, was it in London? They said the last time they went to Miami was the year they won the Super Bowl. I can digress that. But, man, has it really been that long since they played in Miami? Really? If they get a third win, this is going to be it. Because Dolphins got their own issues as well. But I'm going to say off a limb, this could be a low-scoring game. I can see this being like a 17-7. Saints beat the Dolphins. I can see them at least getting 6 or 7 wins for the remainder of the season. They've already got 2 wins. Dolphins will be 3. They'll sweep Carolina. That's win 4. They'll beat the Jets. They'll close out the season winning 3 in a row. They'll beat the Jets. They'll beat the Titans. They're gonna get one with the Falcons. They're gonna do it in their house in Atlanta. Look, first NFL team I fell in love with. You know, you're always going to be number 1 over everybody else. But I'm so used to losing seasons. You know, this ain't nothing new to me. The Superdome is iconic. I absolutely fucking love that place. I cannot wait to come back. I plan on being at the Jets game December 21st. Whether you keep losing, I'm still showing up. And I'm still going to wear black and gold on Sundays. Who dat? Always first. And before I bring him on, I got one more thing to talk before I bring on Jason. I sent him the link. He should be coming in soon backstage. Let's talk the New Orleans Pelicans real quick. Pelicans talk. I can now update this because they just won their recent game. So now they've won 2 in a row, and now they're 4-15. I know that's not a good record, but they just finished the game earlier. Well, let's talk about after last show. They went to Dallas during cup play. They lost to the Mavericks, 118-115. Trey Murphy had led with 25 points, 7 for 14 in field goals, 10 for 10 in free throw shooting. Herbert Jones led in rebounds with 9. Derek Queen led with 11 assists and 4 turnovers. Zion had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 turnover in that game. And the other night, they also lost to the Atlanta Hawks, 115-98, where Derek Queen went 11 for 17 in field goals, 6 for 7 in free throw shooting, while Sadiq Bey led in rebounds with 11, plus he led in assists with 5 assists and a turnover. Now, the other night, they got a win over the Chicago Bulls. They beat the Bulls in New Orleans. They beat them 143-130. And that was a lot of points in that game. Zion was back. Well, Zion was back for the he didn't play for the Hawks game. He was back for this one. He led in this game with 29 points. He had 8 for 14 in field goals, 13 for 16 in free throws. Yavis Missy led in rebounds with 14, plus he had 14 points. Jose Alvarado led in assists with 8, plus he had 2 turnovers with 16 points. Trey Murphy had 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jeremiah Fears had 15 points with 4 rebounds. And Sadiq Bey had 20 points and 13 rebounds in that game. Tonight, even though they're eliminated in group play, in the NBA Cup, they did get – wait. They didn't get a win. Oh, fuck, I did that wrong. They lost in overtime to the Memphis Grizzlies, 133-128. My bad. So now they're 3-16. Where did I thought they won this game? Let's see. I know Jose Alvarado scored some points with 1 shoot tonight. I can tell you that. He led in points with 24 points, 9 for 15 in field goals, no free throws. Sadiq Bey led in rebounds with 10 rebounds, and Derek Queen led in assists with 9 assists and 1 turnover. Let's see what Zion had. Shit. Wrong thing. Zion had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 turnovers tonight, even though they didn't get the win. What's next for the Pelicans? Saturday, November 29th, they go to Golden State, which the last time they played them was on the 16th. They beat them. They beat us 124-106. And then November 30th, they're going to continue on in Cali. They go to LA to play the Lakers, who are 13-4. And Tuesday night, December 2nd, they're back at Smoothie King. They host the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 10-8. Man, that's 3 tough opponents right there. One thing I'm going to say about the Pelicans, I'm thankful for. Y'all were the first team I've ever saw, first NBA game I've ever attended. The only team I've ever seen play in the NBA multiple times. I've been through good times. I've been through shit times with you guys. And I know y'all finally got rid of y'all's problem. Y'all got rid of Willie Green. I haven't been to a Pelicans game since 2017. No, not 17, 2016. It's been damn near a decade since I've been to a Pels game. So that's another one that's usually hard to try and make. But hopefully one day I can be back and root for you guys. Because I still haven't seen Zion play in person. I want to try and see this guy play in person before, by my goddamn luck, he would go play for another team. Well, while we wait for Jason, I didn't type it up. I can go ahead and type it. Let's see how the standings look in the NBA Cup. So while I wait for him, let's take a look at some NBA Cup standings right now. Let me pull it out while I wait for him. Here we go. Because I need to get an update on the Houston Rockets because they need to win this game. Well, they're now trailing 59-47 at the half. The Rockets have to win this game if they want to continue on in the NBA Cup, because a loss here, they're eliminated, just like the Pelicans. So, meanwhile, the Eastern Conference, it's the Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers that move on and advance. Toronto is one of 5 teams that are still undefeated in Cup play. They're 4-0, while the Cavs are second at 2-1. They're still trying to fight to move on, while the Wizards, the Hawks, and the Pacers in Group A of the Eastern Conference is out. Group B for the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic are 3-0. They're currently they got a game coming up Friday night with the Pistons. So it's 1 versus 2. I mean, either way, win or lose. I mean, win for Orlando, they move. I think they move on either way, win or lose. They'll be tied with the Pistons. They'll both be 3-1 if the Pistons will pull it off. While the Celtics, the Nets, and the Sixers all been eliminated. And Group C of the Eastern Conference, still got 3 teams battling it out: the Heat, the Knicks, and the Bucks. Heat's 3-1. The Knicks and the Bucks are both 2-1, while the Bulls and the Hornets are out. Let's see who these teams got. Miami got to play well, no, that ain't even a group play game. They actually beat the Bucks today. They beat them 106-103. The Knicks, on the other hand, they beat the Hornets today 129-101. Okay. So that put them out. So we got that there. While in the Western Conference, Group A, there's 2 undefeated teams. You got the Thunder and the Suns. Thunder's 3-0. And I know they just got a win just now. They beat who the fuck they played? They beat the Timberwolves 113-105, which the Timberwolves are out with the Kings plus the Jazz. The Suns, on the other hand, they took on the Kings right now. They're currently leading 70-51 in the third period, which the Kings have already been eliminated. Meanwhile, Group B, we got the Lakers that already clinched to advance. They're undefeated. The last undefeated team left in these group plays. Grizzlies and the Clippers are still fighting to move on. You know, the Grizzlies just beat the Pelicans in overtime. The Clippers, they obviously had to play. They must have played Dallas recently. Or actually, they play the Grizzlies on Friday to try and keep their hopes alive. Meanwhile, the Lakers, they beat the Clippers yesterday. That got them to clinch. So it's like in Group B, the only teams that are so far out is the Mavericks and the Pelicans. And then finally, Group C of the Western Conference, the Trailblazers and the Nuggets are tied at 2-1, but the Portland Trailblazers are the number 1 seed right now. So it don't matter right here. The Rockets win. They're officially out. Somebody must have just won for the Rockets to not even have a chance to move on. So it ain't got to do with the Denver Nuggets. They ain't played. Let's see if it's San Antonio Spurs that got them knocked out. They're currently playing the Trailblazers right now, 63-59. So basically, Houston got themselves knocked out. I mean, maybe if they'd have beat the damn Denver Nuggets, they'd have had a chance to keep it going. That's just me. They could have did something. They could have did what OKC did last year. OKC was the only team to ever win both the NBA Cup and the NBA Finals. Let's see if he got this chat. He should be hopping on soon. Nope, he didn't get it yet. Okay, while we still wait on him, we'll just move forward. I'm gonna go ahead and get to some recaps. Let's recap week 13 of college football while we wait for Jason to pop in. Let's see what happened in week 13. I know quite a bit happened. So I know we can start with. Let's go to the FCS side. There was one FCS game we were talking about. That was a rivalry game. There we all picked, but that team did not get it done. We all rode on Harvard's coattails to drop a 3-game losing streak to their rivals, Yale. And once again, Yale breaks Harvard's heart, breaks their perfect season, and now wins 4 in a row in their rivalry. While on the other hand, I can't believe I didn't make this as a pick, but we had another great rivalry in the FCS, the Brawl for the Wild. You want to talk about heaviest trophies in college football? I said LSU, Arkansas. No, Montana and Montana State's trophy. The Brawl for the Wild is probably the heaviest trophy in college football. Montana State keeps it going. They beat Montana. That was a very good game, by the way. Missouri and Oklahoma, great game. Oklahoma pulled it off, made a comeback. College game day went back to Eugene. USC's chances of trying to make the playoffs are far from are officially over. Oregon trying to sneak in the Big Ten championship. But the last time game day went to Eugene, they lost. But this night, it went to those Mighty Ducks. Arkansas and Texas, classic rivalry. Texas found a way to pull it off. Arch Manning keeps on winning. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Diego Pavia got the win over Kentucky. Duke, North Carolina, like I said, I called it. If this would have been a basketball game, it would have been Tar Heels all the way. Duke got the last laugh. Duke got the win here. The ACC is pretty fucking sneaky right now. Like, that thing is just as open. And ladies and gentlemen, he finally made it. It's Jason. What's up, man?
I thought you bailed on me, man. I was getting ready to go out.
Oh, no. I've been giving thanks to all my teams I've been covering, and after recapping all their shit, I had to give them a little love, at least at the end.
Well, you can't miss anyone, can you?
I got too many teams on here on that. I talk about all across I-10 from football, baseball, basketball. I gotta give even it's some college ones especially. But yeah, it's great. It's great to have you back. I think the second time you're on for a national holiday. I remember the last time we were together covering the Dodgers and the Astros for 4th of July weekend. And now
that's right.
Thanksgiving coming up, and you're here for the predictions and recapping. And I did some take on some recaps real quick, but I know with college football, anything you saw that you want to bring up from week 13 in college you want to bring up?
Not really. I mean, the college football season for me, Marcus, has pretty much kind of played out the way I thought it would. We have our pretenders, contenders in the SEC, the Big 12, Big 10. I mean, I was never, like for the SEC, for example, I know Texas has kind of been back and forth. They've pretty much hedged all their bets on what Arch Manning can or cannot do. I will say this. I expected a lot more out of LSU. I really thought Garrett Nussmeier was the real deal. Now, I understand that everything that happened with the Brian Kelly situation, that's not Garrett Nussmeier's fault, but I think it's safe to say, at least from an outsider's perspective here, that LSU has been more disappointing than what we all thought they were going to be. Notre Dame, I thought they were going to be where they're at. I will say this. I am surprised at BYU. I didn't expect BYU to be this good this season. They'll probably be playing in a major BCS game, maybe. We'll see. But aside from, Alabama is what they are. Michigan, the Ohio State for me, Marcus, I will say this. They haven't been challenged this year. At least I don't think they have. They haven't hit a patch of their schedule that really has put Ryan Day's team in a bit of a corner to test their resilience. So now I know that Ohio State, I think they're the defending national champions, but still, I haven't seen them play some really tough competition this year. And hey, they're going to be playing Michigan, big rivalry game on Saturday. So that'll be a game I'll be tuning in to watch. So yeah, again, like I said, college football has pretty much played out the way I thought it would. I've also been shocked at a lot of the head coaches that have lost their jobs. I didn't expect this many to lose their jobs in season the way they have. Obviously, the Lane Kiffin situation is causing a big distraction there at Ole Miss. And then you also have, we found out just today about Brian Kelly's situation there in Baton Rouge. So it's just, again, it's just another wild, wacky season. On the field, played out the way I thought it would for the most part. But again, with all the coaches losing their jobs in season is what's really surprised me the most so far.
Well, the Brian Kelly situation, I could have seen that a mile away. But see, this is what I don't believe here. See, here's one thing I know when it comes to coaches, except for Deion Sanders. He might have been the only coach I know that had a son on the team that everybody knew was playing.
Right.
Brian Kelly, I had no idea he had a son playing for LSU. He obviously was a bench warmer because I've never seen him step foot on that field. Even watching on TV, he was obviously a senior, but Brian Kelly, quote unquote, was not invited to attend his own son's senior presentation, which I don't think that's the most LSU thing they've ever would have done, but I know they got their little heat issues. I'm sure they at least send him an invite and say, hey, just come watch it backstage or come in a suite. But we don't want you to get no backlash. I'm like, I don't believe they didn't. They say, hey, you can't attend your son's senior. That would be so diabolical of them if they did some shit like that. But you can't believe everything on the internet, and everything lately is fucking AI these days. And you can't trust anything on the internet anymore, and it's 2025.
Yeah, here's my take on the whole Brian Kelly situation. When I read all the reports that came out today about how the university finally contacted him to let him know, hey, they were letting him go without any provocation, without any explanation. They were just letting him go. Marcus, it seems to me that, excuse me, for a coach with a $54 million buyout, you don't just go to bed one night, wake up the next morning, and then decide how you're going to fire your head coach with a $54 million buyout. This to me is something that has materialized behind closed doors for quite some time. And, I think this was kind of, from what I recall, this was one of the red flags surrounding Brian Kelly when he was hired, was he got ousted from Notre Dame under similar pretenses. He got ousted from Notre Dame because he couldn't win the big games. He couldn't win the important games. And as a result, he lost his job in South Bend, which is one of the most cherished and hallowed jobs in all of sports, professional, college, you name it. And so when he got hired in Baton Rouge, I even said to myself, I said, if this guy even lasts, 7 years of the duration of his contract or however long it was, I'll be amazed. Well, lo and behold, he hasn't, he obviously didn't fulfill that. because of everything that transpired. So, and look, you have a greater touch on LSU football than I do because I reside out here in California. So I watch a lot of UCLA, USC, obviously a huge Fresno State Bulldog. I graduated from Fresno State, but from the outside looking in, this is something that LSU's people, I think, were working on behind closed doors for a long time. And they were looking for the most opportune moment to let him go. And that was almost a month ago, because the timing of Brian Kelly losing his job is what stunned everybody too. And that also leads me to believe, again, that this was something they had concocted for quite some time while not keeping Kelly in the loop so as to cause distractions on the field. I could be wrong in my perception, but that's just how I perceive it.
Yeah. When you got the governor involved, you knew it was personal like that. But
yeah,
people who don't know this, that's how state universities work.
Yeah.
The second in command is the governor. Like, it's not just for LSU. Like, ask Florida State that. Ask Texas State that. Any state with a state university, like NC State, Utah State, Arizona State, when they don't have a president or nothing to make the call, they get the governor involved because a state university is basically owned by the state. That's just how it is.
The California State University college system here is the largest state university college system in the country, and so the difference between us and some of those other universities you mentioned is that, we don't have the perennial national contenders in the California State University system the way that some of these other systems do. But, Marcus, you bring up a good point with the governor of Louisiana getting involved, because that to me is where the rubber met the road. Again, we know that politics and sports get intertwined all the time, but that you have an acting sitting governor of the state of Louisiana intervening in this, that goes, correct me if I'm wrong, but that goes beyond boosters. And I don't know about you, but I would rather have a governor focus on how to fix the state economy and how to deal with homelessness or crime or whatever, rather than meddling his or her fingers into one of the most prestigious college football programs in the nation. But with this whole Brian Kelly situation, I think there's still a lot that we just don't know about, that probably we won't find out until, I don't know, 2-3 years down the road after they hire Lane Kiffin or whoever it is to replace Brian Kelly on a full-term basis.
It's crazy when, like, in Louisiana, the state university's football team is even more popular than, like, the damn New Orleans Saints and whatnot.
Yeah.
Where, like, maybe, I'm pretty sure for California, the whole state in general, probably the most popular team for that whole state is, I'll say, the Lakers maybe, or the Dodgers. One of them two is probably bigger than the 49ers or Golden State or any other professional or college team in general. Where maybe for Texas, it's obviously the Cowboys, obviously. But
yeah,
for Louisiana, it's LSU over everything that they have sports-wise.
Yeah. So yeah, again, just kind of going back to all the predictions and everything like that. I'm still, I'm really, really going to be paying attention here in the final 2 or 3 weeks to see how the rivalry games shake out, to see how these loaded conferences, the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, shake out, because obviously, more BCS implications are going to be involved as a result of this, the not BCS, but the playoff format. So, it's going to be interesting to see how college football separates its pretenders from its contenders coming down the home stretch of the season here.
Yeah. I mean, the only other things I've said in recaps was like, Harvard blew it to Yale again. Yale ended their perfect season. Yale won 4 in a row. With game day back in Eugene, Oregon finally got a win over USC, knocked their playoff hopes out the window. Pitt beating Georgia Tech got the ACC wide open. We don't even know how the ACC championship is going to fall out.
You mentioned USC, and today Lincoln Riley said that he is 100% staying at Southern Cal. But here's the thing. USC's boosters are extremely influential. And so while Lincoln Riley may say, hey, I'm staying put at Southern Cal, there may be some powers that be that think differently. So if I'm Lincoln Riley, I wouldn't exactly hedge my bets on keeping that chair warm and comfortable in his office there, because he's been skating on thin ice for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So, and I'm sure Lincoln said that to kind of sway some distraction away from his coaching future. But, I don't think his job is as safe in Southern Cal as he thinks it is.
Well, here's one thing I want to bring up to you, since this is your neck of the woods. You want to talk about rivalry games we had recently. I loved how this concept came, where I don't know what's really the biggest college rivalry in California, but obviously what I saw on national TV with Cal and Stanford, I loved how they present the trophy to the winner. They had like a group of, like, I don't know if that's fraternity people, sorority people having a stare off, and then they just hand the Stanford axe over to the winning team, and Stanford got the win over Cal. I mean, maybe you could kind of explain this a little more. I don't know if you really follow Cal or Stanford, or if you could give me some like back history of how some traditions of this rivalry.
Marcus, I'm not really too familiar with the tradition of the rivalry or the history of the rivalry between Cal and Stanford. I know it's one of the oldest among college football teams in the state. But it's unless you are fans of both of those teams or alums of both of those teams, you don't really follow them as much as you would some other rivalries elsewhere and other programs in the state. Like, for example, here where I live in Fresno, the big rivalry we have is Fresno State versus Boise State. Ever since we jumped ship from the WAC into the Mountain West Conference, and subsequently with Boise State as well, the Broncos have always been our biggest our biggest foe. And so if you're not familiar with Fresno State or Boise State, you're not going to follow that rivalry. Just like if you're not familiar with Cal Stanford, you're not going to follow that one either. The most memorable moment I have from that was the old marching band on the field game, where the band got on the field and they interrupted the play. So that was a fun moment. But I wish I could elaborate more on that, but unfortunately I don't have as much information about that rivalry as I do some of the other ones.
So if I had to take a wild guess, if I'm going to have to say what's the biggest college rivalry in California, is it USC and UCLA?
No, I would say it's USC and Notre Dame. USC and Notre Dame's rivalry goes all the way back to the Knute Rockne era. And those two programs literally hate each other, Marcus. They literally hate each other. There's a little bit of respect, I think, on both sides of the field sometimes, but it's definitely USC and Notre Dame. I think you'll find USC and UCLA even though they're only separated by just a few miles in the greater metropolitan LA area, they've never really had strong rivalries in any sport, football, or especially in basketball, because, UCLA basketball, of course, under John Wooden, 10 national championships in 12 years, one of the great college dynasties in all sports. USC has been more dominant in football than basketball. They've also had both teams' baseball programs have been really great. UCLA baseball, USC baseball have been great over the years. But yeah, overall, they don't have that type of rivalry feel the way that USC Notre Dame do, or the way that Michigan Ohio State do. So it depends on the sport and a couple of other things.
Yeah, Stanford Notre Dame, rich history indeed, but I was talking about like in-state, like you're talking about two California teams going head to head. You think maybe the biggest was UCLA and USC?
Yeah, possibly. I would also say if I was a betting man, I would also say Stanford Cal. Even though that contradicts what I just said a while back, Stanford Cal, just because there's a lot of history there with both of those programs too. So I would say those two are probably the creme de la creme of in-state rivalries, at least.
Okay. So I'm gonna, before I even pull the bracket up, I'm gonna just kind of reveal this top 25 thing. I made some couple changes here, but like I usually share this image when they reveal it. But this is what the top 25 currently is right now. 1 through 5, kind of still the same. Some changes were made between, with Texas Tech no, Texas Tech is now 5. That may be the only thing new change. Oregon's now at 6 after that win. Ole Miss goes to 7, and Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Bama 10, BYU at 11, Miami 12, Utah 13, Vandy 14, Michigan 15, Texas 16, USC 17, Virginia 18, Tennessee 19, 20 Arizona State, 21 SMU, 22 Pitt, 23 Georgia Tech, 24 Tulane, and 25 Arizona. That's currently the top 25, but this is what we have currently now. If this were the bracket right now. But, some changes were made. You go back to last year, they say if you were a conference champion, you were guaranteed a first-round bye. Obviously, that don't really matter no more, except for the 11th and 12th seed. They'll give it to a conference champion there.
Yeah.
But
Marcus,
if this were the playoffs now, let's say everything's done, this is the playoffs, how do you feel about these first-round matchups with a potential opponent in the 4 that get a first-round bye?
Looking at these first-round matchups, before I get into that, I will say this. What intrigues me here is that Miami is ranked 11th. Notre Dame is ranked 9th. If you recall, Miami defeated Notre Dame earlier in the season, and yet Notre Dame has been ranked higher than Miami. So, I'm kind of, curious as to how that plays out in terms of the playoff seeding there with those two teams specifically. But looking at these first round brackets now and how they currently sit, you know what? A lot of these higher seeds to me aren't necessarily givens in these games. Oregon, the 6th seed against Miami, the 11th seed. Miami's good when they want to be, and Oregon is good when they want to be. Ole Miss is probably. They would be a lock to defeat Alabama. I think that's a given. But that 9-8 matchup between Notre Dame and Oklahoma, that's an interesting matchup. I don't know. I don't remember what Oklahoma's RPI index is, but I think it's a lot lower than Notre Dame's. So that would be an intriguing matchup. Texas Tech and Tulane, you got to be kidding me. I don't even know why Tulane – how the hell did they crack into the top 25 anyway? But, yeah, there's not really any games that reach out and grab me and say, oh, my gosh, we need to be on the lookout for this as far as an upset is concerned. I don't know.
Well, one thing about Tulane is they just need one more win, and they're back in their, conference title picture. But they're, one of the heavy favorites to, win their conference, where you look at Miami, I guess, with what they're taking here, I guess they're having Miami as a favorite to win the SEC. Not the SEC, the ACC. But, something's going to give because, they're not going to fully stand right this, because you look at that Alabama-Ole Miss matchup, it's not going to happen because one of them, if both eventually win their games, one's going to eventually fall while the other can move up and potentially play in an SEC championship. But, if this were the, playoff matchups we got coming up, I stated before, if we got Texas Tech and Tulane, I said Tech would win that game if they hosted in Lubbock and they go play Georgia. Notre Dame and Oklahoma would actually be some old school classic style, but I guarantee you they would want Notre Dame to pull it off to get that natty rematch with Ohio State. Miami, Oregon, I forgot who Oregon's quarterback was. I know he was considered a Heisman candidate, playing Carson Beck, and that would be a great matchup. The winner would get a shot with Texas A&M. And then Alabama, Ole Miss, they're trying to get 5 SEC teams in the playoffs, which they're going to probably end up with 4. But if this were a playoff game, Tyler Simpson versus Trinidad Chambliss would be great, and the winner would go into playing Fernando Mendoza in Indiana, which I think the Heisman might be locked in on Fernando, because I might have a spoiler alert here. If Ohio State pulls it off with Michigan and breaks that 4-game losing streak, I think we're going to get Indiana, Ohio State, and I feel like Indiana could be the one to take down them Buckeyes, most likely.
You very well could be right. Going back to the SEC title game, I don't know about you, and I could be wrong, but I mean, even if Alabama and Ole Miss went out their schedule and they both, went out the end of the season, both of them would have to do that in order to get top placing there in the SEC title game. So, I mean, there's little margin for error with both of those teams. Just one loss, one more loss for those teams messes up a whole bunch of things. But I kind of hear you on the Indiana-Ohio State possibility. That would be a very intriguing matchup. Fernando Mendoza winning the Heisman Trophy, that would be great for Indiana. I think, God, I don't even recall when the last Indiana player was that was even considered for a Heisman Trophy. I want to go all the way back to a multi-tool quarterback in the early mid-90s. I think, I don't remember his name, but that Oregon quarterback you're talking about is Dante Moore. And his play has kind of been erratic at times. So, I mean, fun times ahead.
So this is how open the SEC is. Like, it's gonna come down to 4 teams. You're looking at 4 are right there on that bracket in Georgia, A&M, Alabama, and Ole Miss. For Alabama, we'll start with Alabama first. It's real simple. They got to win the Iron Bowl, and they're in. They're going to Atlanta. For Georgia, they have to win or lose. I mean, they got Georgia Tech left. I mean, Georgia Tech is not a SEC rival, so win or lose to Georgia Tech, it don't matter. For Georgia to get in, Bama's got to lose to Auburn, and Texas A&M got to lose to Texas. For Ole Miss, I'm going to save them for last. A&M, they have to beat Texas to get in, or if they lose to Texas, they need Bama to lose to Auburn, and Ole Miss has to lose to Mississippi State. But Ole Miss got the hardest end of the stick here. Ole Miss has to win the Egg Bowl, plus Auburn beats Alabama, and A&M loses to Texas to get in. So it is such a damn scramble. But I stated it first. It will probably be A&M and Georgia, or it's probably going to be A&M and Alabama.
Well, A&M and Alabama, Marcus, are the only 2 schools in the SEC that control their own destiny. So if they both win, they would face each other in Atlanta. But if Alabama loses, then they're eliminated from that conversation. So the Aggies, the Aggies could actually get in if they lose to Texas, as long as either Alabama and Ole Miss also lose. And then also, let's keep in mind, too, that Georgia doesn't play an SEC opponent in its final game. The Bulldogs, I think, are going to take on Georgia Tech in Atlanta in their final game of the season. But if either the Aggies or Alabama lose, then Georgia will be playing in the SEC championship. So really, Marcus, I mean, the whole outcome of the SEC championship hinges on those 2 teams that control their own destinies. If A&M and Alabama do what they're supposed to do, the SEC championship is going to be lined up the way it should be, but we both know that the way it should be and the way everybody wants it to be are 2 entirely different things.
Oh, yeah. And then we'll go ahead and start some predictions, but this should be a quickie. I'm going to bring up the FCS because I do follow them, but there's only 8 playoff games because teams got first round buys. As you look at it there. So we'll start from the top. So we do got a Louisiana team that made it. Southeastern didn't win the Southland Conference, but they're in. They're going to play Illinois State in Hammond. The winner of this game, possibly season will end the following week, because the winner of this team got to go play in Fargo against North Dakota State, and we know their rich history with winning national titles in the FCS. They've made great players like Carson Wentz, for example. North Dakota State got their own dynasty like Alabama has had.
And North Dakota State's former head coach, Matt Entz, is now the head coach for my Fresno State Bulldogs. So, and up until last Friday, Matt Entz had our Fresno State Bulldogs in contention for a Mountain West title until we laid a gigantic freaking egg in that loss last Friday. So, but that's beside the point.
But I'm gonna go with the home team here. I'm gonna pick Southeastern to pull it off, to at least make it to the next round. But whoever goes to Fargo, their season's over. But I'm going with Southeastern.
Yeah, right.
I'm going with the Lions.
Yep, and I see a California school in that bracket there, Marcus. UC Davis, go Aggies. All right, I'll be rooting for them Aggies.
So who you got in Southeastern and Illinois State?
I'm going to take you know what? I'm going to take Illinois State. I don't know a lot about them, but I mean, yeah, I'm going to go Illinois State.
I'm going to try and pull their records up when I can, but I will say the next one, you got Rhode Island taking on Central Connecticut State. Winner of this will go to those Aggies of UC Davis. Rhode Island is the 9th seed. So Illinois State's 8-4, Southeastern's 9-3. Where Central Connecticut State's 8-4, Rhode Island is 10-2. So I'm gonna probably take Rhode Island in this one.
Yeah, I probably would too. Either way, whatever team wins, they're looking at a long cross-country trek to play UC Davis if they do, when they do win. But yeah, I like Rhode Island in that game too, just by default of their schedule, 10-2.
Yeah. Then, despite that loss to forward, despite that loss to Yale, Harvard goes out to Pennsylvania, not too far. They're going to take on Villanova. Harvard's coming in 9-1. Villanova's 9-2. The winner goes to Lehigh, and I saw Lehigh's making history there, but winner goes to Lehigh next round. Harvard kind of crushed me losing to Yale, so I'm gonna have to. If this were a basketball game, I'd 100% take Villanova, but I'm gonna take Villanova in this one.
I'll probably take Villanova also.
Then you got Tennessee Tech, who was undefeated. Their only loss, they went to Lexington and played the Kentucky Wildcats, so that was the only team that gave them their first loss. They're playing North Dakota, who's 7-5, and the winner of that game is heading to Stephenville, Texas, to play the Texans of Tarleton State, which kind of shocked me here. This is probably the best season Tarleton State's ever had. They used to be a Division II school before they upgraded to FCS. So whoever wins this game, their season's going to end in the Lone Star State. But give me Tennessee Tech over North Dakota. I mean, if they didn't have to play the Wildcats, an SEC team, they'd have had a perfect season in the regular season, I believe.
Yeah, kind of hard to argue against Tennessee Tech based on what you just said. So I'm going to agree with you on this. I'll go with Tennessee Tech also.
And to be honest with you, I don't really know anything about this Tennessee Tech team. I don't even really know what they're golden something. I don't know if they're the golden Eagles or Kent State's the Golden Flashes. I don't even know what their mascot is.
I'll ask my brother. He lives in Tennessee. I'm sure he knows.
But on the other side of the bracket, it's crazy to see how this team has completely fell down. But South Dakota State, not having the season they wanted as defending champs, they're now 8-4, and they're hosting New Hampshire. I don't even know what their mascot is, but they're both 8-4. But the winner will go to Missoula to play the Grizzlies of Montana, who had a heartbreaking loss to the Bobcats of Montana State. But I think they got a little fight in them. I'm going to go with the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State.
I'm going to as well. I didn't even know, honestly, Marcus, I didn't even know New Hampshire played college football, Division 1, 2, or 3. So, yeah, I'm going South Dakota State also.
Their mascot, is that a coyote or a husky, or what is that? I've only seen that logo worn once on Adam Sandler and Grown Ups.
Let's see.
University. The Wildcats. They're the Wildcats.
Wildcat. Yep, they're the Wildcats. Okay.
But I'm going to go with give me the Jackrabbits. I don't know what's so dangerous about them, but that's like one of the coolest mascots you can ever have. Whether if you're a high score, a Jackrabbit.
Yep.
Then you got South Dakota. the Coyotes versus Drake, which I think they're the Bulldogs. If I'm right, that look like a bulldog right there.
They are. I think they are.
And the winner goes to Mercer. I've heard of that college, but I know their girls basketball team's playing LSU in the Virgin Islands, but I'm trying to see what their Mercer.
Yeah,
University. They're from Georgia.
Mercer's men's basketball team made the NCAA tournament, I think, 2 of the last 3 years, if I'm right about that.
They're the Bears.
Yeah.
So they're Macon, Georgia. Okay, they're from South Georgia. Okay. Let me pull their record up again. I'm probably gonna pull South Dakota because what's that conference? I don't know. Big Sky Conference. That's like the SEC of the FCS.
Yeah.
They got North Dakota State, Montana State, South Dakota State. They're all in that same conference. 8-3 versus 8-4. I'll go with South Dakota.
Yep. Sounds good to me. South Dakota also.
Now, how about this right here? This is 2 Texas teams playing for a chance to play another Texas team in the next round. So you got Abilene Christian versus Lamar. The winner goes to Stephen F. Austin to play the Lumberjacks. I'm a Magnies guy. Lamar's our biggest rival, so I'm going with the Abilene Christian Wildcats to go to East Texas and play the Lumberjacks. So give me ACU.
I am going to take Lamar in the upset. Boom.
Okay.
Yep.
And then finally, you got Yale and Youngstown State, which, yes, Youngstown State, when I heard their mascot was the Penguins, I laughed hysterically. The winner of that goes to Bozeman, where Yellowstone and all that is out. They're going to play the Bobcats of Montana State in the next round. If we get an upset in the FCS playoffs, I think it's Yale upsetting Youngstown State.
Oh, it could be. Very well could be. Jim Trustle's old school, Youngstown State. They have a rich football tradition where they're at. So, but yeah, you could be right. This could be an upset special in the making for Yale.
I don't know. I don't remember what year it was. It was either 1997 or 2002. Youngstown State won the FCS national championship against McNeese.
I want to say that was 2002.
Because 1 year they played Youngstown State and it was a close game and they lost.
Yeah,
I think it was might have been 2002. All right, well, I know I'm at the 2-hour mark, but I know I don't want to keep you too late. But I know we still got NFL talk, but this is where all the fun's gonna come because we got more college football to predict. I'm gonna just go off a limb and say whatever we got left predicting in college, only 3 I put on this list is non-rival games because of records. Everything else on this list is college football rivalries. And we got 25 college rivalries to pick. But most of these might be quick. I had to put some in here. So you have a game tomorrow night. It's the All-Turkey for a reason. It's an HBCU rivalry. Tuskegee and Alabama State. I mean, all I can say about this is Alabama State won the last 3. I'm going to go with Alabama State over Tuskegee. Hornets, Golden Tigers.
I'm going to take Tuskegee.
Okay. This will be the first of 3 non-rivalry games. I had to put it on there. Navy and Memphis. This looked like it'd be a good game.
Navy's been I guess they're a good team. What's their record? I don't have it pulled up here, but let's see what the midshipmen are.
I know Memphis had an outstanding season. I know they beat Arkansas earlier this year. I'm trying to get it up too, but I think it's the cold front. All that heavy wind outside is messing with my Wi-Fi on my phone. You might have it up before me. Okay, so this is on this. Okay, Navy's 8-2 and Memphis is 8-3.
Ooh, that's close. One game separates both teams in the loss.
And they're playing at the Liberty Bowl.
Oh wow. Yeah, Boy, this is actually a tough one to pick. You know what? My uncle is a graduate of the Naval Academy. He would really hate me if I went against Navy. So I'm going to go for the midshipmen in this one.
I'm gonna go with
Upset.
Memphis, but this is a quick question. Since you're taking the upset, okay. I'm gonna go with Memphis, but here's my question. Since you brought up the Navy, y'all always root for them in the Army-Navy game?
Not always. So half of my family has served in the Army. The other half has served in the Navy. So the way I handle it, Marcus, is one season I root for Army. The other season I root for Navy. And usually what I do is I root for the home team. So if Army has the home game that year, I'll root for them. If Navy has the home game, I'll root for them. So that's kind of how I work it out.
Well, they usually play at neutral sites too, which I don't even know who's hosting it this year. I think it's MetLife, or I don't know if it's Baltimore or Philly, New Jersey.
I think it's MetLife.
I don't know who's hosting MetLife.
Yeah, I think they had it at
Lincoln
Financial last season.
Yeah, I remember Baltimore's held a couple too, but all right. So this, then we got, that's just on Thursday. This is what we got on Black Friday. We got the Egg Bowl, which has been very questionable if Lane Kiffin shows up or not. Ole Miss at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State is sneaky good. They're not a bad football team. But with that being said, Ole Miss is loaded. They're loaded at all the skill positions. And regardless of whether Lane is on the sideline wearing the headset or not, I still have to like the Rebels in this one. I don't think it'll be a blowout because, again, the Bulldogs they're not bad. But I do think it'll come down to Ole Miss winning this one.
Yeah, I hate Ole Miss, but I'm going to pick them to win. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss. And it's the 122nd meeting. Ole Miss has already won 3 out of 5. They're about to win a 4th one. So give me Ole Miss. Then we got Iowa at Nebraska for the Heroes Trophy. Very underrated rivalry in the Big Ten.
Yeah, so my grandparents originally are from Nebraska, and they were huge Cornhusker fans. This is kind of a tough one to pick, too. A lot of history with this rivalry also. Nebraska and Iowa do go back a ways. And there's also been a lot of speculation about Matt Rule's future, about whether he'll still be coached there. I like Nebraska in this one. I think Dylan Raiola is going to find a way to get Nebraska the win in this one. There's also been questions about whether or not Dylan Raiola will enter the transfer portal next season, especially if Matt Rule leaves. So, hey, why not go out on top? Make this, if it is gone, if both of these guys are gone, if Rule takes another job, Raiola enters the transfer portal, hey, go out as winners. So I'm gonna pick the Huskers in this one.
Here's interesting about this. So Iowa's won 9 of the last 10, but Nebraska hasn't won in Lincoln since 2011. They're overdue for a win.
You know what? If Tom Osborne was still alive, that would be unacceptable. In the Tom Osborne era, that record would not exist. Let me just say that.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with Nebraska.
Okay. Go Huskers, go Big Red.
Oh yeah. I like, and they do this too. Like they do the little skull thing.
Yep.
All right. Then we got a rivalry I think should have a different name. Georgia and Georgia Tech. They call it clean old-fashioned hate, but they play for the Governor's Cup. Why don't you just call it the Peach Classic or the peach, something with a peach?
Yeah, right. Well, look, I don't think. Sorry, I'm hesitating on calling this one because I want to give Georgia Tech credit, but I mean, come on, it's going to be the Bulldogs. You know, it's going to be the Bulldogs. The system will make sure that Georgia wins this game. With what we just talked about, with all the clinching scenarios in the SEC, the system will definitely make sure that Georgia wins. Am I going full-blown conspiracy theory here? A little bit. but I got to take the Bulldogs, regardless of how good Georgia Tech may or may not be. And it's going to be in Atlanta, I think. So got to take Georgia.
Yeah, like I said, this ain't going to affect them getting in. Like, win or lose is not going to determine if they get in the SEC championship. So, I mean, rivalry games, you're going to expect upsets and whatnot, but I don't know if we're going to see that with this.
Nope.
Because last I checked, Kirby Smart is probably one of the highest paid coaches in college football right now. Probably the winningest coach as of right now.
Yep.
And Georgia, on the other hand, Georgia's already won seven in a row. Make it 8 in a row. Give me the Bulldogs.
Yep. Yeah, kind of hard to go against them.
All right. This is our second non-rivalry game. I had to make sure if this was a rivalry game or not, but it's not. But it's a Mountain West game. San Diego State at New Mexico.
Okay. I'm very familiar with the Mountain West, obviously, because my Fresno State Bulldogs compete in the Mountain West. You know what? Fresno State a few weeks back had a really, really good chance to grab a foothold in the Mountain West. And I believe it was a loss they suffered to San Diego State that really kind of threw the whole conference kind of into a discombobulated mess. Here's what you can expect out of San Diego State. You can expect solid defense. I think they're one of the top defensive teams in the nation, top 5 or top 10 in terms of points allowed. This is going to be – I think the Aztecs are going to win. New Mexico, better than what we thought they were going to be in this conference this year. And, especially with a lot of the schools in the Mountain West are going to be joining the Pac-12 next season, Marcus. So Fresno State will be making that jump to the Pac-12. I don't think San Diego State will. But anyway, this is going to be – really the last season that we get to see the Mountain West Championship in its full form. So I'm going to take the Aztecs on this one. New Mexico caught lightning in a bottle this year. I don't think they're going to walk away with this one, though. I'll take Aztecs.
I'm going with San Diego State as well, but all I know is like a lot of state universities in the Mountain West are going to the Pac-12. San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, Utah State, San Jose State are joining Oregon State and Washington State. Plus you got Gonzaga going to the Pac-12. Texas State's going to the Pac-12. I feel like I'm missing more. I think I said it all. I mean, I don't know about Hawaii. I don't know about New Mexico, UNLV, Wyoming. Maybe Colorado State might be going to the Pac-12 too. I forgot. That was like back in the summer whenever I was talking about Texas State jumping to the Pac-12 with a lot of the West Coast teams, which that's like West Virginia joining the Big 12 right there.
Yeah. Hawaii's situation is pretty dire in terms of football. I don't think they can afford to join the Pac-12 just because they would need to come up with a large sum of money to give the Mountain West to lead that conference. And Hawaii's program is just, I mean, they're so poorly funded. It's almost sad when you think about it. And all those schools leaving the Mountain West to go to Pac-12, Marcus, why are they doing that? To form their own power conference, to get better regional TV deals, to get better broadcasting rights. They want to be able to monitor and control the outcome of their own games. So they would have their own commissioner to help in part determine the scheduling, both in conference and out of conference. So they're basically doing what everyone else did in the SEC and the Big 12 and the Big 10. They're going where the money is, trying to form the bigger power conference to get, again, the better regional TV deals and the better marketing deals too. So, that mass exodus is going to leave the Mountain West with just, I think, 4 teams heading into next season, if I'm not too much mistaken. So that's going to be interesting.
I don't think Hawaii is going to be like they were in 2007.
No. I mean, Hawaii every 10 or 15 years, is relevant for 1 or 2 seasons. You know, they had the Timmy Chang years. They had the Colt Brennan years. Remember, Colt Brennan was from Texas, ended up going to Hawaii, brought his Texas-style brand of football to the islands there. But, I mean, they don't they don't bring in a lot of money. They don't have a great university budget to even afford renovations on a stadium that's almost 60 years old. I mean, in fact, Hawaii, when I last heard, Hawaii was playing at a high school stadium.
Get a new stadium. It just built like a new on-campus stadium, but it's like really small.
Yeah, it is. I mean, seriously, it makes Spartan Stadium in San Jose look like a bandbox. And, you know, it's just the dynamics of that university. They just don't have the money to compete with the bigger schools in conference. I wouldn't be surprised if Hawaii ends up going independent, if they declare independent. I don't know how they would do it, but just because they can't afford to join another conference, at least I don't think they can. So they could go independent. You never know.
Last I checked, I think there was only 3 schools that were independent: Notre Dame, UConn, and somebody else.
BYU's independent.
I thought they were Big 12.
I thought they were still
Big 12. No, they're in the Big 12 now.
Are they? Let me check, because they were independent for a long time.
They just joined the Big 12, I think, a year or 2 years ago. Like, they topped in when they got Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. They were the 4 that jumped in. So
yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. They're currently sitting second place in the Big 12, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, and we're probably going to get a Texas Tech BYU rematch in the Big 12 title game, but I digress. All right, now we got an old rivalry in Indiana. We got Indiana at Purdue for the Old Oak and Bucket 127th meeting. Purdue won 3 of the last 5, but Indiana having that magical season. This gets them one step closer to the Big Ten championship, possibly with Ohio State, most likely. Fernando Mendoza, I still believe, is going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, so give me Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana in a landslide. Good luck, Purdue. You're going to need it.
Then we got the Lone Star Showdown. I am so glad they brought this rivalry back, and all it took was for Texas to come to the SEC. But it's first, I don't know when was the last time they played it in Austin, but for A&M, they're the heavy favorite, but they haven't beaten Texas since 2010 when they were still Big 12 contenders. So, like I said, A&M, a win for them. They go to Atlanta with some extra help, but I'm going to go with the Aggies. It's going to be a close game, but, you know, Arch Manning and them are going to try and fight, but I think the Aggies pull it off. I think that'll be a close game.
Yeah, I think they will too. You know, Arch Manning did have a slow start to the year mainly because he was trying to acclimate to the job of being QB1. But, you know, he has played better in the second half of the year, Marcus. I think he's had a string of 4 straight games of completing more than 60% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. And during that time, Texas has gone 3-1 in those games. However, Texas A&M's defense is legit. They have at least 3 or 4 guys, especially on that defensive line, that are NFL caliber and almost ready right now, especially Cassius Howell. I mean, he stepped up and he's really emerged as one of the best defensive linemen in the entire sport. And, you know, he's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick in the NFL draft when he does declare. But with that being said, even though Arch has played better in the second half of the season, I don't care what the name on the back of the jersey says, Marcus. He is a freshman. He's in his first year at quarterback at one of the most high-profile positions and programs in the country. That defense is going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink at him. I like A&M in this one too. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. We could be looking at maybe, 28-21 or 35-27 game, something along those lines. But I like A&M in this one also.
All right. This will be the final game on Black Friday, and the rest is strictly Saturday. But they call it one of the oldest rivalries, the duel in the desert, Arizona State for the Territorial Cup. Arizona State won 7 of the last 10. I'm going to go with Arizona State.
Okay. Let's see.
If only they still had Cam Scatterbo on that team, I definitely would have picked Arizona State.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Both of these teams are pretty evenly matched in terms of their talent. But I'm going to go with. You know what? I'm going to pick the Wildcats. I'm going to go the Wildcats in this one. I think they find a way to pull it off, and yeah, I think they have a stunner in the desert.
All right. Now you got your Saturday slate, and why not start off with where game day's going? In my opinion, maybe the greatest rivalry in college football. You got the game. You got Ohio State, Michigan in the big house. Michigan trying to go for 5 in a row. Try and knock them down a bit. Where essentially, now I don't know what the scenario is. If Ohio State loses, does Oregon get in there and play Indiana? I don't know the concept there, but I'll let you start with this. Like this is one of those I circle every year to watch.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite rivalry games to watch, regardless of whatever year it is. These two teams also have a deep found hatred for each other. Whenever these two teams play, Marcus, it's either going to be a defensive slugfest or it's going to be an offensive shootout. But in this game, I'm sorry, I've got to take I got to take Ohio State in this one. They just have too many weapons for Michigan to contain. Obviously, they have Jeremiah Smith, who is probably the most dynamic wide receiver in the nation. He is a legitimate game breaker. They have other key playmakers on both sides of the ball. I'm going to go Ohio State in a tough one here. I'm going to say they pull this one out. In fact, I'm going to predict even more, Marcus. I'm going an offensive shootout here. I think Ohio State wins this one. I'd say 41 to 35 is going to be the final score.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Usually, I hate Ohio State just as much as I hate like Alabama, Ole Miss, Arkansas, A&M. But I feel like, Ohio State really hasn't. I feel like they played a weaker schedule because if Penn State wasn't in the situation they were, that'd probably been one of their toughest challenges. They were lucky they didn't play Oregon. They were lucky they didn't play other teams. I think they could have had close games with. They're lucky they didn't even meet up with Indiana. But if they win this game, they're going to meet Indiana in the Big Ten championship. But they're going to have they kiss Ohio State's ass too much. They kiss Ryan Day's ass too much. They got to let Ryan Day at least beat him twice. Like he's only beaten him once since he's been there. So give me Ohio State, and if anybody takes down the Buckeyes, it's going to be the Hoosiers. So give me Ohio State, unfortunately, to win in the big house. But I'm not going to lie to you. I would laugh hysterically if Michigan wins 5 in a row.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. They've done something like that before, so I wouldn't put it past them.
And this will be a non-rivalry game here. Miami at Pitt.
Well, you know what? Where do I go with this? You brought up Carson Beck earlier. Miami's success really hinges around Carson Beck. What is he now, a 9th or a 12th year senior or something like that?
5 years senior.
Pitt is a tough team. And I know if Adam's watching, he would hate me for picking against him. But I'm gonna go with. Is this game in Miami or is it in Pitt?
It's in Pitt.
Oh wow. Okay, that might change something a little bit.
You saw what they did at Georgia Tech. Like Georgia Tech needed one win to get to the ACC championship, and Pitt rode in Atlanta and blew them out.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I'm going to switch my pick, Marcus. I'm going to go Pitt in this one. I'm going to go for the home team.
Yeah, because I lost faith in Pitt when Notre Dame ran them over when game day was there, just like Aaron Donald ran over McAfee off the table for picking Notre Dame over his alma mater. But I'm gonna go with Miami.
All right.
No, I don't know where that leads for the ACC championship. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Then we got, this might be a quick one for me, but you got the Governor's Cup, Kentucky, Louisville. Kentucky won the last 3 out of 5, but Kentucky is literally the worst team in the SEC right now. Louisville had a much better season. Hell, they beat Miami when they were the 2 seed. Because obviously Miami got a thing where they can't even beat Louisville, and I didn't even know they were a rivalry all of a sudden. So I'm going with Louisville.
Yeah, I'm going to go Louisville also. Kentucky football, lots of luck.
They in basketball mode now.
Yep.
Then you got the Palmetto Bowl. You got Clemson at South Carolina, and I think this is going to be the make it or break it game for Dabo that can determine his future. Both teams have had struggle seasons, but nobody I don't think had more of a struggle than Clemson. I think Lenore Sellers had more success than Cade Klubnik, so I'm going with the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I got to like South Carolina in this one also. And I'm kind of with you on Dabo Swinney. I think even Dabo knows that he's on borrowed time right now. And honestly, I think he just wants the season to end so he can find out what his fate will be. And so that way he knows whether or not he has to move on and find another job in D1 or elsewhere. So, yeah, I like South Carolina in this one.
All right, yeah. And plus it's in Columbia, so Sam Storm's going to be rocking at Williams Brice. All right. I made my pick on this one. I threw this in for you, but we got maybe the greatest HBCU rivalry of all. We got the Bayou Classic this Saturday. Grambling and Southern. They've been playing for over 80 years, but since 1975, they've been playing in the Superdome. Tigers, Jags. So you're going to give me 2 picks. You're going to tell me who wins the football game and who wins what made this rivalry so famous, the battle of the bands, if you know your HBCU bands. GSU band or the Human Jukebox?
Oh, the jukebox. All the way. Give me the jukebox, man. It's hard to go against that.
Well,
as far as who wins the game, I'm going to go Grambling. I'll say Grambling State wins the game.
I think that may be a smart pick. Grambling is 7-5. Southern is 1-10.
Yeah. So there you go. But I like the jukebox though, man.
I've been blessed to see both those bands play against LSU, and I've seen the Human Jukebox against McNeese's band. They know how to put up a halftime show, especially the Human Jukebox. Now, this rivalry, at one point when they were in the Pac-12, this was my most favorite Pac-12 rivalry ever. I don't watch a lot of Pac-12 football, but when these two were together, this was a must-watch every year. Now that they shifted to the Big Ten, this may be the second greatest Big Ten rivalry. We got the Cascade Clash. This is the Iron Bowl of the Northwest. This is the Red River rivalry of the Northwest. This is the Michigan and Ohio State rivalry of the Northwest. Oregon and Washington. And when I tell you these two hate each other, when I had Bryce on, the Huskies hate the Ducks more than the Cougars, and the Ducks hate the Huskies more than the Beavers. This is fucking cinema. I'll never forget when it was Bo Nix versus Michael Penix Jr. a couple years ago. Michael Penix got the last laugh, but man, Oregon and Washington is a must-watch. It's in Seattle this year. Something's got to give. Washington is trying to shatter Oregon's dreams of making a Big Ten title appearance, but can still make a playoff appearance. But what you got for this instant classic?
I'm going to pick Oregon on the road. I think Dante Powell is going to step up. I think he's going to play his best quarterback of the season in a not only just it's not a must-win game for Oregon. It's more of a must-win game for Washington than Oregon. But I think this is a prove it or lose it game for Oregon in terms of positioning themselves to get a good spot in the postseason playoff brackets. So I'm going Oregon in this one. Dante Powell, I think, throws for 280 yards, pair of touchdowns. I think he rushes for an additional 70, and he leads the Ducks to a 28-7 win over the Huskies.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Ducks win, but I feel this might be one of the first few upsets of the weekend, and I think Washington pulls it off at home.
All right. So you think this rivalry is bigger than the Civil War rivalry between Oregon State, and Corvallis?
It's bigger than that, and it's bigger than the Apple Cup.
Ooh, bold. Okay. I mean, the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State is pretty intense, especially when it's played at Autzen Stadium, which is one of the best home field advantages in all of college football. But okay, yeah, I mean, hey, I definitely won't argue about UW and Oregon.
With what I saw on College Game Day, I have not once heard "fuck the Beaver" chants. I heard "fuck the Husky" chants more than anything else.
Well, Oregon State's down this year a little bit, so that's why you haven't heard as many "fuck the Beaver" chants.
Plus, when I had Bryce on from the Hawkeyes podcast, he told me, he said Washington hates Oregon more than Washington State.
Okay.
I said, I believe it, bro. I said, that's like Michigan hates Ohio State more than Michigan State.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohio State is the cream of the crop of Ohio. They're like LSU. They ain't got nobody else to be rivaled with in the state. I mean, LSU had Tulane, but that was a lopsided rivalry.
Yeah, definitely.
LSU's more heated rival was Arkansas. All right, then you got Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Diego Pavia trying to get a win over Tennessee. I don't even remember who Tennessee's quarterback was. All I know is Tennessee won 6 in a row against the Commodores, and I think they'll make it 7 in a row because it's in Rocky Top. So I'm going with the Volunteers.
You know what? I'm going to go Vanderbilt. I mean, they've been
all right.
They've been a feel-good story all year. I like Pavia. I like the way this team is playing right now. Again, they're one of the feel-good stories in the country this season. Yeah, Rocky Top is a tough place to win a football game, and it's good to see the Vols back in relevance with under head coach Josh Heupel. But with that being said, this is, I think, Vanderbilt's year. I think they're going to go in Rocky Top, and I think they're going to pull off the upset. 13-10, my prediction.
I know this is a must-win for them if they want to try and get a sneak in the playoffs. But look, I'm going to credit Diego Pavia. He turns that program around. I'm a Diego Pavia fan, even though he beat LSU. I became a fan of him once he beat Alabama a year ago. If the Saints if the Saints need a quarterback, if we can't get Fernando Mendoza, I'll go for Diego Pavia.
There you go.
He would look good. And he already looks good in black and gold. Why don't you keep him in black and gold if we don't get Fernando?
Right? Exactly.
Okay, this rivalry, I'm not going to hate it. I'm just going to hate the fucking trophy. Missouri and Arkansas, the battle line, maybe the most hideous trophy in college football. And I'm telling you hideous, I'm talking about they try and copy the Golden Boot of Louisiana and Arkansas, but it's Arkansas and Missouri. And all you do is you put either a red or a gold line in the middle of the trophy, and it's called the Battle Line Trophy.
That's pretty lame.
It's a lame. I wish I had a picture of it, but it's the most hideous trophy I ever saw. But Arkansas, horrible season. They lost their head coach. Missouri been on a roll. Missouri trying to sneak in the playoffs themselves. But I got Missouri. Yep. They win 4 in a row against Arkansas.
And I'm with you on that one. I think they keep the good times rolling. You're right about Arkansas. They were a train wreck that happened a long time ago. I think they only have 2 wins on the season as a whole. So, yeah, I like Missouri in this one also.
All right. Then you got Wisconsin at Minnesota for Paul Bunyan's Axe. I know this is a heated rivalry. The rivalry is tied 63-63 with 8 draws. Now, Minnesota won 3 of the last 5. I know Wisconsin just had a huge upset last week. I think it was Illinois they beat where they rushed the field. But Wisconsin had a mediocre season. I don't know too much about Minnesota. All I know is they signed a running back from Southwest Louisiana who's a Golden Gopher, so I'm rooting for him. Give me Minnesota.
I'll take Wisconsin.
You're going with the Badgers? Okay.
I'm going with the Badgers.
I didn't know if this was a rivalry or not, but actually they are. But Wake Forest and Duke, I don't have too much about them. I just know Duke won the last 3, and I'm going to make it 4 in a row. I'm going with Duke.
I'll go ahead and take the Blue Devils also. I'll see you on that one.
I despise that team in basketball, though.
We all do. We despise Duke. We despise the Cameron Crazies because just they were so good for so many years, and they're good again under their head coach John Shire, who is a Mike Krzyzewski disciple, former player of Coach K's. So, yeah, it's like you thought Duke basketball was going to be irrelevant for like 40 years when Coach K retired. Not. John Shire still has them as a top 25 team in basketball.
So, like, I'm a Tar Heel. Like, I don't talk about them on this show, but I am a Tar Heel fan. Like, I didn't live to see Michael Jordan play for North Carolina, but I did live to see Vince Carter play for him. You know, I know Hubert Davis is the coach now. It ain't Roy and all them. But I mean, I've followed the Tar Heels for quite a while, and they're one of like 6 college basketball teams I follow.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
and I think we can both agree that North Carolina and Duke is the greatest rivalry in college basketball.
Yeah, it probably is. Right now, it's kind of hard for me to come up with another one that would match the intensity and the history of that rivalry. So, yeah, you're probably right.
Plus, they're one of those like blue collar teams, like Duke and Kansas and Kentucky and UCLA and maybe like Michigan State and all them. Then we got Florida State at Florida. But they're not playing for the Florida Cup. Miami was the better team in the state. They won that. But no, they're playing for the McCullough Trophy. And I know both teams have had their issues. Florida got rid of Billy Napier. Mediocre season, but they did beat Texas. But Florida State, they beat Alabama. Florida State won the last 6 of 10. But it's in the swamp. Why do I feel the Gators are going to upset the Seminoles?
Because I have the same feeling you do.
I'm going with the Florida Gators.
Yeah,
that's my second upset so far.
Yeah, I'm going with the Gators also. We'll see.
Here's an interesting rival here. They're playing for a conference championship because that's all they have. The only remaining 2 in the Pac-12, Oregon State and Washington State. So Oregon State won the first meeting. So we obviously know if Oregon State wins again, they win it all. But what happens if Washington State wins? Are they going to go by a tiebreaker of who got the best record, or how are they going to do that if they split it? Because remember, since they're the only 2, they play twice a year, like if they were in the NFL. Oregon State won the first meeting, but this time they're going to Wazoo. But I got Oregon State sweeping them.
Yeah, I think Oregon State will win too. As far as the tiebreaker thing, you could be right. Because there's not a wide field of competition in the conference they're in right now to determine the outcome of that game. So you bring up a good point.
Then you got the Commonwealth Cup. You got Virginia Tech at Virginia. Virginia Tech lost their coach, but they're going to get James Franklin in the future. Virginia had themselves a little magical season. I thought they had the best field rushing when they beat Florida State. I'm gonna take Virginia in this one.
I'm gonna take the Hokies. I think the Hokies are gonna want to prove to James Franklin that, hey, you're taking over a good program. So give me the Hokies.
That's a bucket list. Go to Lane Stadium and hear Enter Sandman.
Right? Yeah. Hey, I read that story about Metallica performing Enter Sandman in that stadium and how it was like the loudest recorded concert or song ever in history or something like that.
So they actually played a full concert, or did they only just play them out to the field?
Oh, okay. That's right.
No, I didn't know. I thought maybe you can answer that for me. I heard they played in Blacksburg, but I didn't know if it was a full concert or just played them to the field.
No, yeah, Metallica did play a whole concert there in Blacksburg.
Yeah,
and then I think if I remember correctly, because they performed on a Saturday night, they came back and performed Enter Sandman. Because they played on the Friday night before a Saturday game, a home game there, they came back the following Saturday because they were going to have another show. And then they performed Enter Sandman live as the Hokies ran through their victory tunnel. So
Oh
Yeah, the Hokies got a
wow!
double whammy. Yeah, right.
I gotta find that on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. It got like about 20 or 40 million hits, man. It'd be hard to miss on YouTube.
Well, this next one, this is the biggest rivalry in the South. It's the Iron Bowl. It's Alabama at Auburn. Bama has won 5 in a row, but Auburn has a better winning advantage at Jordan Hare against the Crimson Tide. They've beaten them more in their own stadium than in Tuscaloosa. If Auburn wins, it is officially over for Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. No SEC championship, no playoff appearance. Are we getting an upset, or do the Tide keep rolling?
No, I think the Tide keep rolling. Kalen, like you just alluded to, Kalen knows what's on the line here. He knows what's at stake. And it's not about legacy. It's about keeping his job, but it's also about expectations of what Alabama football is supposed to be. So I think knowing what's on the line for him and for that program, they're going to be out to make a statement. This is going to be a statement game for the Tide. And I think they come out and I think they win big. Marcus, I think this will be a 35-10 rout against Auburn for Alabama.
I'm rooting for, this is the one time a year I chant War Eagle. I'm rooting for the wannabe Tigers. I'm going for Auburn and shatter Bama's hopes. This rivalry in your neck of the woods, you're gonna have to explain this how this works. So you got UCLA and USC for the victory bell. Answer this question for me before you make a pick. Whoever wins this game, do they repaint that bell? Because I've seen that bell red and I've seen that bell light blue.
Yeah, they do. Whoever wins that game has the honor of painting the bell as their school colors. So, obviously, if USC wins, they paint it crimson and yellow. If UCLA wins, they paint it gold and powder blue. So, yep. Or at least gold or powder blue, whatever color they choose. Cold, though, would probably be the preferred color.
I've seen the blue, but I think they paint it red because I'm going with USC.
Yeah, you know what, UCLA.
They lost their coach too. Yeah, they lost their coach too.
Yes, they did. And UCLA has just been, and now, this program is going south really fast, Marcus. Now we're hearing here that they're not even going to play their games at the Rose Bowl anymore, that they're trying to negotiate a big money deal to play their games in SoFi Stadium where the Rams and the Chargers play.
Why?
So, money.
Oh, Lord.
The reason why, Marcus, is because the Rose Bowl, even though it's one of the most hallowed and cherished sites in all of college sports, it's outdated. That stadium has been around since the late 30s, early 40s, and probably even older than that. They want luxury boxes. They want preferred seating. They want better parking. I mean, the Rose Bowl, the parking is so bad there, it's literally adjacent to a golf course. And so when you need to find a place to park at the Rose Bowl, you're parking on the 9th green of the golf course that's just right next to the stadium sometimes.
I can't imagine the struggle getting out.
It's tough. It's bad. It's getting out is twice as worse as getting in, and that's saying something. So going back to the prediction for this game, knowing that Lincoln Riley's job is on the line, and he knows it is. Yeah, I think USC is going to come out. They're going to win this one. UCLA doesn't have a lot of talent. They're probably going to get maybe 3 points, 6 points at the most in this game, but USC wins.
I don't remember what game it was, but I got bored one day and it was a late night for me. So I turned on UCLA was playing somebody and I thought it was COVID all over again because there was literally no one there in that bowl game. There was probably like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 people in like a 90,000 seated venue. Like it looked like 2020 all over again. But that was horrible.
Yeah, and it's really a shame because, I remember when UCLA football was fairly relevant in the 90s during a period where USC football was irrelevant under the Paul Hackett years, which I will not even bring up with anybody here. And UCLA used to have some really good, well-attended home crowd games in that stadium. But because the team is where they are right now, because they've been really bad for such a long time, again, people just don't want to go to an outdated stadium to watch UCLA play football games anymore. But for some reason, school administration thinks that going to SoFi is going to change that. So, yeah, nothing's etched in stone yet, but that's where they're leaning right now.
All right. Then we got Northwestern at Illinois, the land of Lincoln Trophy, where Illinois won 3 of the last 5, and I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini.
I'm going to go with the Illini also.
I thought these two also played for a victory bell, but I guess not. But North Carolina and North Carolina State. NC State won the last 4. We know Bill Belichick didn't take this team to farther heights, so I'm going with the Wolfpack. I'm going with NC State.
Yeah, I'm going with NC State also. To me, it just feels like Bill Belichick at North Carolina. It just feels like he hasn't been fully invested in that program to begin with. I'm still to this day confused as to why he accepted the position in the first place. But yeah, I like NC State in this one. There's just not a lot there with the Tar Heels football team, and I want to feel bad for Bill, but unfortunately I can't. The guy knew what he was getting into. So, hey, you make your own bed, dude. You got to sleep in it.
Hey, we got three more left before we get to some NFL. One you've talked about, big one, Notre Dame and Stanford, the Legends Trophy.
Yeah.
Notre Dame won the last 3 out of 5, but I know Stanford's season has been crumbling too. Marcus Freeman, I mean, if it wasn't for Lane Kiffin, I wouldn't mind him coming to LSU and we take another Irish coach. But I think he stays at Notre Dame, and I got Notre Dame winning this one big.
Yeah, I got Notre Dame winning big in this one also. So, yeah.
I'm going to jump the gun on this one because I'm going to save the best for last for you. But I didn't even know Wyoming and Hawaii was even a rivalry. They play for the Pinolio Trophy, which means cowboy and Samoan. But Wyoming's won 7 of the last 10, and I don't know. Hawaii's been on some hot streak lately, but they just lost to UNLV, so I don't know. I mean, Hawaii's hosting it. I mean, I might let them win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wyoming wins 8 out of 10 or 8 out of 11 coming.
Yeah, I think Wyoming wins too. Plus, they're coming off an emotional high of retiring Josh Allen's jersey just last weekend. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys go into Hawaii. I think they'll lasso the Rainbow Warriors, and they fly away from the island with an upset win.
And then last but not least, there is a rivalry in your neck of the woods you're familiar with, the Battle for the Valley. Fresno State and San Jose State. I seen the trophy. It's a V-shaped trophy. Not bad. So, I'm going to pick Fresno State in this one, but give me a little backstory about this and give me your take on this one.
So, yeah, this rivalry does go back a ways, and the Battle of the Valley Trophy, San Jose State and Fresno State, it's typically swung in the favor of Fresno State because San Jose State football has not been a very good program, nowhere near what Fresno State has been. Both of these teams, I'm trying to remember how this rivalry got started in the first place. It either had to do with 2 coaches or 2 players, but at any rate, this is that one, at least down here in Fresno, Marcus. I mean, people here in Fresno don't care about it as much as us winning the milk jug from Boise State. That is a more important rivalry game than this one against San Jose State. But I got to be honest with you. San Jose State is not that bad of a team this season. They have Navy's former coach, Ken Tuatamatolo, I think his name is, who's done a pretty good job of making the Spartans a fairly competitive team. And the Bulldogs just finished laying a huge egg last weekend against Utah State. And had they won against Utah State, they would have been in a much better position to play for the Mountain West title game, which is out of the question now. So even if the Bulldogs win this game, the Mountain West championship is out of reach for them. With that being said, I do like my Bulldogs to rebound on this one on the road in San Jose. We bring home the Green V for another season.
Oh, yeah. Well, that wraps up Rivalry Week. I know it's going to be a fun one all week, but let's kind of talk some quests to see what we can do with the NFL before we close out with predictions.
Yep.
I'll kind of run with what I saw. I was in shock when I brought up the Houston Texans, the way that defense dominated the Buffalo Bills, especially sacking Josh Allen 8 times. Saints didn't surprise me losing to the damn Falcons. Chiefs getting the refs in their pocket to pull the Colts off in overtime. More issues with the Bengals now with Joe Burrow coming back. Now he lost T. Higgins. I don't know if Jamar Chase will be back to play for tomorrow night against the Ravens. Packers decimating the Vikings. Jameis fucking Winston making some noise with Detroit, even though the Lions got the victory there. Shadir Sanders getting his first win as a start against the Raiders, but I don't think they're that good enough to remain. And the Eagles, what's up with? I've talked this about blowing leads in Texas. The Eagles blew a 21-0 lead against the Cowboys for them to come back and win that. The Rams, I feel like, might win the NFC the way they played against Tampa Bay. And the 49ers just running over Carolina. That's all I got for my quick recap. What you got running down all week 12?
Yeah, well, what I have running down on week 12 is just a better idea as to really I can't even say I have a better idea as to who the contenders or the pretenders are from week 12, because it seems, Marcus, that every week it's a week-to-week league, because just when you think that, you're going to have, the Raiders beating the Browns, lo and behold, the Browns defeat the Raiders. And just when you think that the Eagles are going to easily handle the Cowboys come back and rally and defeat the Eagles. And so it's literally a week-to-week league. So you can no longer circle games on the schedule and say, hey, here's a win here, and a win here, because good teams are beating bad teams are beating good teams. I will say this, that looking back on week 12, the teams that absolutely had to win got their victories. Kansas City had to win, although I agree with you, it should not have happened, but they did. Green Bay had to get a win. They got a win. Dallas had to get a win, and they got a win. So really the only team that needed a victory that didn't get it was Pittsburgh. They lost to Chicago by 3. So, but with that being said, again, week-to-week league, that just kind of leads up into everything heading into week 13 here to see what could transpire starting tomorrow.
Yeah, and we ain't got to wait long because, Thanksgiving and football, great combo. And I watched the highlight video of John Madden and Pat Summerall doing play-by-play calling and bringing up turkeys. And that was some great highlights, especially when they had what was it? Was it Reggie White that in 1989 for the Eagles that ate a big ass turkey leg? Like, I love that new tradition they got. Like, whoever wins on Thanksgiving, they each get a turkey leg. I think it was Reggie White in 1989. Yeah. Rest in peace, Reggie White. Same thing with Randy Moss when the Vikings, when he balled out against the Cowboys around that time. That was great. I love when they go nostalgic and show like John Madden highlights with Pat Summerall and explaining the turducken, which came out of New Orleans, and got to circle the legs. Like, how many legs are on a turkey? Like 6 legs or 8 or something like that.
And see, here's what you do with the stuffing right here. You got to take the stuffing out, and you see the leg comes down here and does a sweep. And then what you do is when the other leg comes out and blocks for this leg going on the sweep, then you take the stuffing and you put it back in. I hear you. That was vintage John Madden at his best. Oh, those are the great days.
And you forgot a boom with it. So
boom. That's right. Sorry about that.
I think of Madden 97. Now that's concentration there.
Yeah, right.
Whoa, what a hit! Like Madden 97, instant classic. Best 16-bit football game I ever played outside of, or 8-bit outside of Tecmo Bowl. But
where did that guy come from?
Now, we talked about on open mic. We were blessed to now. Remember, back in the day, we would only get 2 NFL games. You get a Lions game and a Cowboys game, hands down. Yeah. But I think it's been since 2007. They award a 3rd additional game, but it would rotate around. So 3 NFL games, starts with your Packers going to Detroit to play the Lions, which I brought up. I said, if I'm doing a parlay, how should I do it? I was told take the Lions on the money line. I wanted to take Green Bay on the points, but people forgot. I don't remember what week it was. The Packers beat the Lions, and what was it? In the last 10 years, they have split the series with each other.
Yep.
So that makes you wonder, are they going to continue that, or will Green Bay break that and sweep Detroit?
I'm going to say yes, but it's going to be a really, really close game. I give defensively, I give the edge to the Packers, but I mean, it's not an easy edge because the Lions defense has their fair share of playmakers, obviously led by Aiden Hutchinson, and it's going to be fun watching Hutchinson and Micah Parsons wreak havoc on both Jared Goff and Jordan Love. But I'm going to stick with my Packers. I think they're going to pull out a squeaker. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think I might have said that on open mic last night. It could be one of those 23-20, 16-13 type of games, just, because of what's at stake for both teams, but also, both teams featuring defenses that can cause some problems.
Which the numbers changed now. They got the Packers. They're giving the Packers 2.5, which I said I was going to take them with the points. So,
and Josh Jacobs will be playing in this game for Green Bay. They did say today they took him off the injury report. He is going to be active for this game. Whether he starts is another question, but he at least will be active. I would expect, coming off that knee injury, Marcus, Matt LaFleur is probably going to limit his carries anywhere between 10 to 15, maybe, and give the bulk of the carries back to Emmanuel Wilson, who had a 100-yard rushing game last Sunday.
Let's just go to the basics, because I'm like a lot of people. I'm used to seeing the Lions lose on Thanksgiving. It's no surprise. So,
yeah, right.
So, go Pack, go!
Right there, you go. I like that.
Then you got another usual tradition. Even though the Lions started it first, you got the Cowboys hosting Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, the referees, Taylor Swift, the Swifties, and the Kansas City Chiefs. This one, I said, this is whoever got the refs in their pocket, because both of them got good offenses, got decent defenses. The Cowboys think they're the greatest thing ever since they made the Eagles blow a 21 lead. The Chiefs had a struggle win with the Colts and needed the refs to get by, but this ain't the same Kansas City team, but they gave the Chiefs -3.5. Anytime they're under -3, Patrick Mahomes always covers when it's -3. But it's 3.5. But this is a nationally televised game that the entire world's going to see. Taylor Swift's going to be there to root for her fiance, to try that he'll be lucky if he gets 20 yards in one catch.
Yep.
They're going to make Mahomes the star here. The Chiefs are going to beat the Cowboys.
Well, you know what I said on open mic last night, that I think Dallas will win, and I'm going to stick with that.
I changed it on here. I said Dallas on open mic, but I'm switching it to Kansas City when I saw the lineup.
Oh, I see how you are. Well, I'm sticking with Dallas, and the reason I'm sticking with Dallas is because George Pickens has made that much of a difference on the offensive side of the ball, and he has given Dak Prescott a more reliable target to throw the football to, and that also takes a lot of the pressure off CeeDee Lamb to be the number one primary playmaker. And I think we've seen, Marcus, over the last couple of weeks, Dallas has played better offensively when Lamb actually hasn't been the number one go-to guy. Pickens can take most of the defensive eye off of CD and give it to him. And CD still has been, a fairly decent player. But also on the defensive side of the ball, the Quinnen Williams acquisition really has paid off for Dallas, because their run defense has improved a lot. Their pass defense, though, from what I understand, leaves something to be desired. And I am not a Cowboys fan at all. I deplore the Dallas Cowboys. They make me sick to my stomach. They make me want to go to that stadium and pee on that star on the 50-yard line. But with that being said, they're playing good football right now. They're playing really confident. And Brian Schottenheimer has made a difference too. You see Brian Schottenheimer going on the sideline and chest bumping guys like CeeDee Lamb and patting guys like Dak Prescott on the butt when they make good plays. That type of positive energy rubs off on your team the right way. And that's stuff that Jason Garrett never did. That's stuff that Dave Campo never did. That's stuff that Mike McCarthy sure as hell didn't do. And it's made a difference. And it has these Cowboys playing confidence. So I think I'm going to stick with it. I think they're going to win. I think they get above 500, even though I don't want them to win. But I don't want Kansas City to win either. So I got to pick somebody. I'm picking Dallas.
Fair enough. Then we got our final Thanksgiving game. We got a division showdown. Being the Ravens. Joe Burrow's coming back, but will he have targets? Because we know T. Higgins is out. Jamar Chase got suspended for that spitting. I don't know if he will be able to come back. That's questionable. We know what both offenses can do, but defense is, for both teams, is trash.
Yeah, it is, which is why it could be an offensive shootout between both teams. Because, like you said, their defenses are not very good this year. You know what? Even with Joe Burrow coming back, which Cincinnati's 3-8, and even if, for argument's sake, Joe Burrow comes back and helps this team grab lightning in a bottle, they're still going to be on the very, very far outside looking in for a playoff spot. With that being said, even if Burrow comes back and plays well, I still like Baltimore to win this game. I just, and look, more credit to Joe for coming back. It shows you what a gamer he is, how tough he is. But really, this football team is 3-8. Just give the ball to Joe Flacco, give it to Jake Browning, play out the season. Don't risk further injury to that Achilles on Joe Burrow, because if he gets hurt again in this game and he's out again for an extended period of time, I mean,
they're going to trade him probably.
Well, yeah, you're right. That ultimately that could end up being what happens, but still,
bring him to the Saints.
Still with the limited offensive weapons he's going to have, no Higgins and no Chase, it's going to be tough.
Take that back. Don't come to New Orleans. They don't have an O-line either.
Maybe Miami.
I got the Ravens too, but what is this offense going to do? 1 week they can be up 21-0 in the first half. Another minute they won't even score a touchdown in the first half. So I don't know what offense is going to show up. But they're wearing they're wearing their color rushes, and they're wearing those, I call them the crown roll helmets. I hate those purple and gold helmets with just that full Raven head forward instead of the side Raven head. I call it the crown roll helmet. I hate them. The uniforms are cool, but I don't like the helmet.
Yeah, I think in this game for Baltimore, you're going to see a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. I would expect them to give him the ball early and often. I don't know what Baltimore's, I wish Rav were here right now because he would be a great person to ask about this matchup. But, I'm expecting
Matt.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think Derrick Henry will run roughshod all over him, and Baltimore.
And then I think it started 2 years ago, but we've been treated to a Black Friday game if you have Prime. Unfortunately, I work on Fridays, so I don't ever watch the Black Friday games or even got to sit and watch a couple plays. But with how far this team turned around, the Bears at the Eagles, I haven't seen the Bears look this relevant since that 06 season when they won the NFC against the Saints and lost in the Super Bowl to Peyton Manning and the Colts. But the Eagles, I know they are severely pissed off after blowing a 21-0 lead to the Cowboys and getting embarrassed like that. They're ready to take it out on Caleb Williams and O'Duns and all them guys. So it's in Philly. This is do or die. If the Eagles don't win, somebody's getting killed. Because we know how they're worse than Cleveland fans. So I'm just for everyone to be safe this holiday season and be home for Christmas. Let the Eagles win this one so everyone can go home in one piece.
Yeah, I think they will too. One of the biggest arguments for the Eagles' struggles offensively this year is that they don't have an identity, that they don't know if they want to be a passing team or a running team. And, I think this will be a good game for them to kind of establish, even though late in the season. This will be a good game for them to establish what type of identity they are on offense. And I knew that Saquon Barkley was not going to rush for 2,000 yards again this season like he did last year, but I had no idea that he was going to have this bad a year as he's had so far. And I don't think that's necessarily due to Saquon. I think that's due to the Eagles' offensive game plan. And whether you can chalk that up to them not having Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator anymore, I mean, there might be something to that, but still, you're right, Marcus. I think they're going to be very, very motivated to win this game. And I think that we're going to see a much better overall distribution of the ball in the air from Jalen Hurts. And then I think Saquon, I'm predicting a 100-yard rushing game for Saquon in this game.
Then the rest of your game, Sunday slate. I said earlier for Texans Colts, Colts are not happy about losing to the Chiefs. Texans got lucky with Buffalo. Colts turned this ever since their owner passed away. It's like he brought them luck. Jonathan Taylor's running the ball great. And Daniel Jones, he found his place. So I'm going to take the Colts in this one at home.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Daniel Jones has kind of come down to earth a little bit. I think the last 3 games he's played in have been just barely above average. And, he got off to such a hot start, just like the team did, which was good. But, with that being said, I do agree with you. I do think that they are going to pull this one out. Maybe Daniel comes back and kind of recaptures some of that early season magic he had. So this will be a good test for the Colts. This will be like this week in week 13. This is going to be one of those games that Indy does have to win, but that Texans defense, like you said a while back, Marcus, I mean, they are legit. They are for real. And they have copied themselves off of D'Amico Ryans, who was one heck of a defensive player in his own right. So it's going to be tough for Daniel to stay safe behind that pocket all day with that defense coming at him.
Okay. Oh, also, I don't know if we passed it or not. I forgot to mention when we started picking. Let me know if one of these games is your game of the week and your toilet bowl of the week. I haven't. However, this next one, Saints Dolphins, we know how bad both these teams are. The Saints broke my heart losing to them fucking Falcons. But Miami, I mean, yeah, they're playing a little better, but this is going to be my toilet bowl of the week. I don't know what Dolphins team's going to show up. I don't know what Saints team's going to show up, but I stated that if the Saints get 6 wins or even 7, this would be win number 3. So I'm going to take the Saints over the Dolphins.
I hate to pick this game because I really don't want to, but I'm gonna pick Miami in this one. Expect a steady dose of Devon Achane in this game for Miami, and Tua's been playing. Yeah, Tua's been playing a little bit better. Jalen Waddle also, so I'm gonna pick the Dolphins in this one.
I got nothing to say on this one, but I got Niners blowing out the Cleveland Browns.
I'm okay. Not like, in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, mister. Okay. The Browns, okay. The Browns have pulled off some interesting wins. And I also would add that the Browns have, I think, the second or third overall scoring defense in the NFL this year. I think they've given up the 3rd fewest points of any team in the NFL as a unit this season. So even though the Browns are not good offensively, defensively, they are good. And they're going to be in Cleveland. And I'm going to be honest with you on something, Marcus. The Niners are in it, but I just don't see it with Brock Purdy. I'm sorry. I just don't see it with Brock Purdy. And Myles Garrett is a beast. I mean, this guy is a man among men. He had 3 sacks in that victory, in that 10-sack victory against the Raiders last weekend. I think he is going to be chasing Brock Purdy up and down the entire state of Ohio. I would not be surprised if Cleveland pulls off an upset in this one.
Yeah, it could happen.
It could.
I wouldn't consider the Raiders an upset because they're about the same level how their seasons are going. But
Yeah.
I figured with Prime over there, they were gonna find a way. I thought they had the refs in their pocket for that one too.
By the way, I'm just going to call my toilet bowl game this week right now. I'm going to say it's Atlanta and the Jets. That's my toilet bowl game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, so you're going with the Browns, okay? Now this
I'm
one,
going with the Browns.
Jags Titans. Okay. Yeah, I remember you say you're picking them. Jags Titans. I think the Jags won back to back, and they're trying to shoot for 3 in a row.
Yep.
Tennessee. I mean, I was expecting a little more. I know they had the number 1 pick and they picked up Cam Ward, but you thought, you'd have guys like Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley on your team. You could be some sort of relevant, but you're not even relevant at all. And I feel like Jacksonville's going to win another one, make it 3 in a row. I'm going to go with the Jags.
Yeah, I'm going Jacksonville also. Tennessee is terrible. Nothing there. Well, I mean, if you Cam Ward, I guess, is playing a little bit better. But yeah, Jacksonville. I mean, the only thing with Jacksonville, Marcus, is what version of Trevor Lawrence are we going to get? Still don't know what Trevor Lawrence is about. They have some other playmakers on offense, but it all hinges on Trevor Lawrence. With that being said, I still think the Jags are going to take this one.
Then you got the Falcons and the Jets, which I despise Atlanta, but the Jets are so garbage. I'm going to take the Falcons.
Both of these teams are garbage. We shouldn't even have to pick this game, but unfortunately we will. I'm actually going to take the Jets in this one. I mean, I'm going to toss them a little bit of love, if for anything, because they need it. So I'm going for the Jets.
Well, this ain't the same Falcon team at the start of the season. They kind of fell forward, but they've picked up, beating the Saints and whatnot. But then you got this one. You got probably maybe the best team in the NFC taking on maybe one of the worst teams in the NFC, Rams, Panthers. I don't even consider a potential upset alert. Give me the Rams. The way they handle Tampa Bay, they're going to do the same with Carolina.
Yeah, the Rams right now are the best team in the NFC, and you could make an argument for the Rams being the best team in the entire NFL. Matthew Stafford right now, to me, has jumped out in the forefront of the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he deserves to win it. I'm just saying that I think he's first in line in the MVP conversation talk. To be playing the position the way he is at 37, coming off a bad back, it's fantastic. Skill players at every position. Puka Nacua, big-time game-breaking wide receiver. The running back duo they have there, led by Kyron Williams, is fairly good as well. And their defense is sneaky good. I mean, Jared Verse is one of the best defensive linemen that we don't even know about. So, yeah, I like the Rams in this one. I think they keep the victory train rolling, and I don't see a letdown for them in this one.
Mm-hmm. Then you got this one's kind of tricky, but you mean Cardinals and the Buccaneers, which I felt like Tampa Bay has kind of fallen ever since Mike Evans got hurt. But it's like I feel like Baker Mayfield's kind of fall, Rashad White kind of fallen, Chris Godwin kind of fell, Sterling Shepard and all them were falling. I feel like they can't do shit without Mike Evans. Where you got, on the other hand, Marvin Harrison Jr. is kind of playing a little bit better with Kyler Murray and company than he's did the last few seasons. We could see a potential upset, though, especially the way Tampa Bay got their ass pounded by the Rams. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals go to Tampa Bay and pull it off.
Yeah, I think they can do that as well. Baker Mayfield's injury, I don't think he's even going to be playing in this game because of that injured shoulder. And that's, like you just alluded to, the injuries. I mean, no Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. It's going to be a lot to ask for Tampa to win without all of their big playmakers there on offense. And so even though the Cardinals aren't very good, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off an upset. Jacoby Brissett, look, he doesn't make it look sexy, but he finds ways to get it done when he needs to get it done. And he gives Arizona a better chance to win than Kyler Murray does, flat out. So, yeah, I think Arizona can pull away with the win in this one.
So who are they going to start? Teddy Bridgewater for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I think Bridgewater will probably get the start.
I miss him with the Saints too. Vikings, Seahawks, Seattle. I know people say Seattle can't play good at home. I think that's a lie. Sam Darnold kind of turned that team around, and I think they could be the second or third best team in the NFC. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too. You know, when I watched the Packers play the Vikings last weekend, I really felt bad for J.J. McCarthy because, I mean, he looks like a deer in headlights out there. I mean, not just with trying to learn a complicated system from Kevin O'Connell. His mechanics are just all over the place. He just doesn't have a feel for the offense. And yes, I know he's playing his first full season coming off an Achilles injury, but still, he doesn't have leadership. He doesn't have a grasp of the team, a grasp of the offense. And then on the flip side of that, Marcus, the players he's supposed to throw the ball to don't have confidence in him. Justin Jefferson doesn't have confidence in him. TJ Hawkinson doesn't have confidence in him. And when your other players don't have the belief in you, how can you expect to succeed at quarterback when they don't believe in you? So I think Seattle is going to bring the rain on him. And yeah, I think Seahawks come away with a win in this one.
Raiders and the Chargers. I don't really have much to say about the Raiders, but it's like, I know the Chargers don't really have a run game now with Omarion Hampton out, but at least Justin Herbert still got like Trey Harris and Keenan Allen and his other targets he has. So if he can keep throwing the ball like he's been throwing, I can see the Chargers winning it over the Raiders.
You know what? The Raiders aren't going to win this game. They are going to lose this one. They are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic yet again. The Chargers, though, they do this every single year, Marcus, okay? Everyone always have lofty expectations for the Chargers. Oh, they're a perennial Super Bowl contender as long as they have Justin Herbert. And they always manage to have a couple of stinkers of games like they had, well, last weekend and the weekend before that bring them back down to earth. Fortunately, they are playing the Raiders. So like I said, this should be a walk in the park for them at SoFi Stadium. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout victory for them. They're struggling right now a little bit on offense. Even Justin Herbert is. So if they can find a way to get some electricity back in their offense, it should be a blowout win for them.
Then you got the Bills at the Steelers. This got to be a wake-up call for Josh Allen and Buffalo because if they want to try and get into the playoffs, I think they have to keep on winning more, and Pittsburgh got their own problems, but I think that Texans ass whooping was a wake-up call for Josh Allen. I can't see him getting sacked 8 times from this Steelers defense and be lucky if he gets sacked at least twice. But I think the Buffalo Bills bounce back and beat the Steelers.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to go an upset special on this one. I think Pittsburgh can win this one. But Buffalo's run defense is of major concern. And something just tells me that even though Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing in this, well, okay, actually, no, you're right. Buffalo will win because Aaron Rodgers won't be playing in this game. And if Rodgers isn't in the game, I don't think the Steelers have a chance. I do reverse course there. I will take Buffalo, but you bring up some good points about the Bills. They're starting to show some kinks in the armor, and they need to figure out how to kind of mend them here if they have any hopes of making a run to the Super Bowl.
Then Sunday Night Football, Broncos Commanders. I'd have been more hyped if it was Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels, but I think his is like season ending, so I'm gonna take it's Mariota taking the snaps. Which, I mean, no credits. I mean, I think he's still a good quarterback, but, I mean, I'm going to say Debo's back, Scary Terry's back. The only ones I can remember that were still out for, like, Washington, besides, like, Austin Eckler and even, like, Marshawn Lattimore. Eckler should be back. Debo should be back. Who else should be back? I'm trying to think. It's like they had, like, a long list of injuries. Like, key players, but this is the Denver Broncos. You know, Bo Nix and Sean Payton. This is my team to win the AFC, so I got the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I have the Broncos in this one too. They did take a big loss on the offensive side of the ball when they found out that J.K. Dobbins is out for the rest of the year with knock on wood, another knee injury. Dobbins had problems with his knees when he was with the Chargers also. But yeah, JK is going to be out for the rest of the year. So that's a big hit on their run game. That's going to put more pressure on Bo Nix and the passing game to be a little bit more consistent. And I mean, they've been good all season anyway. Him and Cortland Sutton have made a good quarterback receiver tandem. It's a good thing that they are. It's a good thing that they are playing the Commanders because, like you said, no Jaden Daniels. Big problem there for Washington. So I think Denver will probably pull away with the win in this one.
And then finally, Monday Night Football, Giants-Patriots. And I'm going to sound crazy when I say this. If Jameis Winston starts, this is my game of the week. The way he performed against Detroit, I wish we would still have him with New Orleans. I don't know what the hell Tom Benson was thinking getting rid of him. But the way he played in that Lions game, especially that, what you call it, where he ended up being the receiver and like jocked the guy and got in and scored, that made like the top play of the week last week for week 12.
Yep.
Now, I hope him to have an outstanding performance, but New England will probably win the game.
Yeah, they probably will. New England's shocked just about everybody. They're 10-2 right now.
And this is without Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Yep. Yeah. Drake May has taken some bigger steps forward than what any of us thought he would. I remember when we did our preseason picks on open mic night way back in August, I said New England at best was probably a 7-win football team all season. Well, I was partially right. They got 7 wins, but I was also wrong because now they have 10 wins. So they've surprised a lot of people. And I think, you know what, Marcus, New England is kind of like Ohio State in that they haven't really been tested. And so I think the Giants will be a good test for them because they are playing a little bit better offensively with Jameis under center. And look, Jameis is kind of like Jacoby Brissett in a way. He doesn't make it look pretty sometimes, but he does find a way to keep his team in the game. And you're right, this could be the game of the week because when you look at all the other games on the schedule for Week 13, aside from the Thanksgiving Day games tomorrow, there aren't really a lot of games that reach out and grab you and say, ooh, this is going to be the game of the week here. So surprisingly, yeah, it could be Giants-Patriots as our game of the week on Monday night. And Drake May, by the way, Drake May deserves to be in the MVP conversation. So kudos to him on a fantastic season.
Oh, yeah, you could throw him in there too. But
yeah,
well, damn, this might have been one of the longest shows I've ever done, but that will just about wrap it up. But before we go, before you let them know where they could find you on social media, I'll give you the platform to say what you're thankful for this Thanksgiving. And if Thanksgiving was in your household or wherever you have it, what can we see on your table or any like Thanksgiving traditions in mind?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm going to answer that question first. As far as Thanksgiving goes, I'm an old-fashioned traditionalist. I was raised with the typical turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes / yams, green bean casserole, decorative table with fancy china and silverware and everything. So, and since my family will be hosting this year, that's what we're probably going to do. Although we might do a buffet style with Thanksgiving this year, just to kind of try and limit since we don't have a lot of spots to sit at in our house. So we'll do it that way. But that's what you can expect Thanksgiving at my house. As far as what I'm thankful for, Marcus, I'm just thankful for family and friends. Unfortunately, we live in a very angry, confused, and complicated society nowadays. And it's always good to especially get on platforms like this and talk about sports, if for anything, to get us away from the everyday grind of what we're dealing with as a society right now. So I'm just thankful to be able to come on to shows like this and express my opinions and do it in front of a group of other people that enjoy sports as much as I do. So, and then obviously family and friends, my wife and daughter mean the world to me. if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have anything at all. So thankful for them. Thankful for my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for giving me another day on this earth. So a lot to be thankful for. And as far as where you guys can find me on social media, hey, I don't have it listed here on my screen, but you can find me on X at Dodger Jason. I'm a huge LA Dodgers fan, so you can find me there at Dodger Jason. Feel free to follow me, interact with me, and hit me up whenever you want to follow as well.
Remember, you got to be thankful for the Dodgers too, back-to-back World Series championships.
Yeah, I am thankful for the Dodgers. Back-to-back World Series championships. And it feels good to have Dodger baseball relevant again, especially after so many years. And yes, there were years where they were not relevant at all. So happy that they won back-to-back titles. Whether they can do it 3 years in a row next season, I don't know, but remains to be seen. We'll find out.
Oh, yeah. Well, on my end, when it comes to like Thanksgiving foods and whatnot, you got your usuals: turkey, ham. We'll throw a brisket every so often. Rice dressing, cornbread dressing, sweet potato casserole, carrot souffle, cornbread dressing, Mexican cornbread dressing, pinwheels, peach cobbler. What else I haven't said yet? Rose, pecan pie, banana pudding. We got all sorts of good stuff.
Yummy.
Black eyed peas, I think that's just a New Year's thing for us. I thought we may have done black eyed peas, but I know for New Year's we definitely do that. But
yeah,
I know when I brought up desserts, I can't believe I brought up carrot souffle, but people didn't know what that was. I should have said peach cobbler instead. Everybody knows what a peach cobbler is. So, Rich, if you're watching, my bad. I should have said peach cobbler. I know you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The only Thanksgiving tradition I continue to this day, I know it's going to sound corny, but this is just me. But like every morning when I get up, whether if I'm making stuff or getting ready for the day, I always got the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade playing on my TV because that was just something I've always enjoyed watching as a kid. Seeing the big balloons, seeing all the performances from the artists and plays and college bands that make the trip, or the All-American cheerleaders and dancers and all that, because we got to witness that back in 2008 when one of my sisters, she made All-American for Dance Line. Her and another girl from our school was invited to go to New York and perform at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with thousands of other All-American girls from around the country. So we went spend a week in New York for Thanksgiving in 2008. It was a bucket list experience, but let me tell you, it was cold as shit up there. And that was probably one of only a couple times in my life we never really did our usual celebration. Like, we didn't eat no turkey that day or nothing like that. We were all invited to eat at some fancy private restaurant. They served Thanksgiving to us, but they didn't serve us no turkey or nothing. So it didn't feel like Thanksgiving after the parade was over with and whatnot. And we were still on vacation. I didn't even really get to watch any football in 2008 for Thanksgiving. So we were still touring the city and going all over shows and shit in Manhattan. I didn't get to enjoy watching football on that Thanksgiving, but it was a once in a lifetime. So I put football on the side to experience it, because with what New York's going through right now, I'll probably never go to that city ever again. But that was just a nice once in a lifetime experience for me. I do miss, like, when I was a kid, we used to play football outside before we ate, but we're all grown now and we don't do that shit no more. Kids today want to stay on their tablets or iPhones and watch shit on their phones instead of doing physical activities. So
play video games.
Hey, I can still play video games and be physical outside. That's what we did in the 90s.
Yeah, same here.
Because if I wanted to go somewhere, I had to take my bike. So I was in shape as a kid while playing video games, but they'll never had what we had growing up, especially in the 90s. We had it made.
Yeah. Oh, hey, child of the 90s right here, man. Graduated high school in 94. So amen to that, brother.
Childhood was in the 90s. I graduated in 2008, but born in the late 80s, but grew up in the 90s. But that was also when football and all sports was king. Football, basketball, baseball. We had the best athletes in the 90s, from Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant to Sammy Sosa. I mean, I can go on. John Madden and Pat Summerall and commentary for football.
Yep.
But what I'm thankful for,
Yeah, do got to take off. So, what are your last thoughts here, buddy?
Oh, no, just thankful for family, friends, as always. Thankful for all my sports teams. Thankful for all the viewers and listeners I've had. Everyone I've worked with from Driving to the Top, like you, Rich, Adam, Joey, all them guys, Rav, Ken, Jamie, even other people we've worked with that ain't with the network no more. I'm thankful for everyone. Everybody does great content, great stuff on the network, and we give everybody what they want when it comes to sports teams they follow. And hope everyone has a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving. And I've said at the beginning, I'm at Big Hoss 337 on X, Facebook, Instagram. Find Drive to the Top Productions on YouTube. Great content, great people. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to check out everyone's content on whatever sports teams you follow. But this was fun. I'm gonna tap out too. I gotta get ready to start cooking in the morning. I'm already after midnight down here, and you're not far behind. So, But thank you again, Jason. I will definitely catch you down the road, especially with baseball season in 2026. If not, I'll probably catch you during open mic. But God bless, man. God bless everyone tuning in. And this was the 50th live stream I did for this show. I said at the beginning, so that was great. Thank y'all. God bless, and have a good. I will see y'all next week. Y'all have a good one.